My name is Chris Reedy. I am the interviewer. Today's date is June 23rd, 2015. We are at Ball State University in the studios of WIPB. This is for the Ford Oval of Honor project. And with us today is John Boltman. John, when and where were you born?
Well, I was born in Washington, Indiana, and I was adopted out of Catholic Charities in Evansville. So I was raised in Vincennes. So I was basically an Irish bastard trifecta, and raised by Catholics, nuns and stuff. It was all right. It was good, you know. So that's basically where I was raised, was Vincennes, and then I moved to San Diego after that.
How old were you when you were adopted?
A little kid, little bitty. I don't recall, but
You were too young.
too young. It was just like just a little. The Catholic Charities had kids coming out their ears, and we happened to be one of them. And my sister was adopted also. So we went through life always telling everybody we're not related, you know. And she always got a kick out of that. So.
What was your childhood like with regards to military service? Did you come from a military-oriented family?
Yeah, my dad was a Marine in Iwo Jima and Okinawa, and my uncle was in the Army intelligence, I think. He liberated camps in Germany. He wouldn't tell me too much about it, but he did liberate some, and he didn't had a problem with that. Then I had an uncle that was in the Navy, you know, and then we had various cousins and everybody. Those were the days when it was a cool thing to be in the military. So, and I just decided I was going to get drafted. I knew my draft number was 16, and so here I am in school. I knew I was going to get drafted, and I asked my dad, and I wanted to go in the Navy Air Force because I wanted to get more education when I got in and out. Well, the waiting list for the Army and the Air Force was like, geez, I don't know, almost a year. Everybody wanted in those, you know. And anybody can go in the Army. You know, my dog could have gone in the Army. I guess I got guys that are going to love that part. And but my dad said, well, you know, you're going to go to Vietnam, so you might want to go where the training is the hardest and the best, and that would be the Marine Corps. And so I did. I questioned him when I was in boot camp if that was a wise decision, but it turned out that it was, because when I got to Vietnam, we were all volunteers. There were no draftees in my unit, which made it really easier to get along with guys, because we all wanted to be Marines, not we were forced to be Marines. And then when we got over there, we realized how well trained we were, and you wouldn't know it until you needed it. And when it just all of a sudden something would come up and your training would kick in, and you sit there and go, damn, I remember that, you know, and it worked, you know. And so I thought, okay, so he was right. So.
What's one instance where that came up?
In guard duty. First of all, guard duty. It was don't panic. Keep your eye on the mission, keep your eye on what's going on, because I heard something, you know, out there. Well, instead of just jumping up and firing, you know, I hollered. I did the whole procedure, you know, hollered out, did what I was supposed to do. Turned out to be, I think, a mama-san with her kid or something like that. Now, how bad would that have been if I'd have just opened up on him, you know, and give credence to everybody that was talking about us back home, you know, and we didn't do that because we were trained not to do that. And I remember that she was so scared. It was the buddy of mine was sitting in the bunker, and he goes, well, she looks as scared as you do. And I go, well, yeah, because I just didn't. I thought, boy, that was too close for me. And that's the best part of the training that I had, was to think it through before you do something. I don't know what about the other branches, but the Marines were definitely into think it through. You know, think of your Marines first, and then think of yourself, you know, and you'll be fine.
In your childhood upbringing, you said your adopted father was a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
So as you were a child growing up, what skills did you learn that transferred into your service?
Shooting. He was big into shooting. We hunted. We ate the game down there. We weren't the Beverly Hillbillies, but we did eat deer, and we ate rabbit and squirrel, not possum. Nobody eats possum. And then I never went coon hunting because that's at night and you get hurt. Didn't do that. But we did eat the game. We had a whole freezer full of wild game that we ate, and I grew up loving it. And to keep it, you had to be able to shoot it, you know. And I learned how to shoot squirrels out of trees with a .22. So I mean, that's something. And he showed me how to do it. You know, breathe, drop, hold, squeeze, squirrel. That's kind of sequential, but that's what it was. You know, that's how he did it. He's always into that don't just shoot for the hell of it. Don't kill for the hell of it. If you're going to shoot it, you got to eat it. That type. So that was a good lesson from him, I thought. He came back from I came back from Vietnam. He came back from World War II. That were killing, pretty much taken out of him. And then I realized what that was when I came back. I wouldn't hurt a little puppy. I just couldn't do it. But that's good. That's good. I thought it was good. It still is good, I think.
Did you ever experience in your teenage years any sort of generational conflict with your father that later you understood?
A little bit, but they were pretty dysfunctional. I mean, I could say that because I'm adopted. My mother, I didn't call her mother a lot. I called her Martha. Oh God, edit that, please. Anyway, she was raised by an alcoholic father, and she just passed that down, and it wasn't good. Even my sister said, "You joined the Marine Corps for a break." Yes, I did. But it was. He'd have been a better father had he been left alone a little bit to be a dad, but he didn't have that opportunity. So I don't hold any grudges against him. You kind of have to get over that, I think. It wears on you if you just keep it, so.
How old were you when you entered the service?
17 and a half, turned 18 I'd say about a few months before I went in. But I had been draft number and I registered and everything. So I was 18. That's kind of young though, if you think about it.
Where was your training?
In Parris Island, South Carolina. That was interesting.
South Carolina can get hot. What was your first impression of Vietnam when you got off the plane?
I bet you ask all the girls that, don't you? The plane was pressurized and air conditioned. Okay, I get to the door, and you couldn't feel it until you got to the door. The door opened, the hatch opened, and I stood there and stopped. Well, then I realized I wasn't the only one. We were all stopping. It's like it just hits you. It almost like it slaps you in the face. And then you're sitting there going, damn, how hot is it? And the flight attendant, and we used to call them stewardesses in those days, which is great. Anyway, she goes, well, it's 110 degrees. It's a little balmy, like that. And I'm going, really, 110 degrees? And she goes, that's the average. It doesn't get too much hotter. Get a little cooler. Cooler to them was 90 degrees and stuff. And it was like that. It took me about 2 weeks to get used to the heat. And then the weight went off, and we were all skinny looking and anything. But the walking off the plane, the problem back in those days too, the Marines will send you individually. They don't send you with a unit. So I'm by myself on the plane. I'm me. And I get off the plane, me. And I walk in and I look for my unit. I found it. And I got into a unit. But we never made close friends. We made friends, acquaintances, but you don't want to make close friends. And then I realized I'm still just me, which is kind of difficult to deal with. But when I left, it was just me. I walked out of the gate by myself, to the plane by myself, got in the plane. It was amazing. I thought, well, I could have maybe thought that through a little better. It would always been better if you were in a unit moving around, because then you get used to guys. But boy, when you're by yourself, it's just kind of, I was glad I was a Marine, I tell you, because I acted tough, but I wasn't at that point. I thought, oh, geez, I don't know anybody. However, the flight was going back to America, I could adjust.
So unit cohesion, which authors have written about, James McPherson, one of them talking about you fight for your friends. Mm-hmm. That's important in the Civil War. He writes about the Civil War. Did you ever feel that?
We always had a kind of a code of you take care of the Marine next to you. Which if you're doing that, you're taking care of yourself. So you don't worry about you. You take care of the guy next to you. That will transcend into your unit. Then that takes care of people around you. You didn't have control of a whole unit. I mean, you knew that, but you certainly had control of the people that were right next to you. And so we always did that. And it was unverbalized. We didn't talk about it. We just accepted it. I never fell asleep on guard duty because I knew that they wouldn't fall asleep on guard. Marines are big on that. We just didn't do that, and we'd always stay awake. And the guys that were back sleeping didn't worry because we're on guard duty. The only time they didn't sleep well was like maybe somebody from whatever, not a Marine, was on guard duty, like Air Force or Army, whatever. I'm not saying anything against them, but I'm just saying we didn't like that. We'd rather have our own guys on guard duty because we knew they weren't going to go to sleep. So that's the only unit cohesion we had, I guess. And but we were, well, we took care of each other. We were really good about that. Really good about that.
What was your unit? What unit were you assigned?
I was assigned to, let me see, I was assigned to the 1st Marine Aircraft Wing out of Da Nang. That was a unit of the 1st MAF, they used to call it MAF, Marine Amphibious Force. And they were also in Da Nang. We had both sides of the river, that was ours. And I was assigned to G3, which was the command center. Actually, it was called a COC, Command Operations Center. That's what I was doing. I was supposed to be a teletype operator, which is, I saw a teletype, but we did radio, we did a lot of stuff like that. When the teletype was up and stuff, then I would use it, and I mean, everything went out because it always went down. But I was courier. I was sent out. They gave me a little bag and the whole shot and said, here are these messages, take them. The first ride I got was on a Piper Cub, like a little Cessna, little bitty thing. They put me in the hold like I was cargo, shut the door, and I'm going, my mother wouldn't want me doing this, you know. And we take off on this itty bitty plane, and we were only going to Dong Ha, which is like about 12 miles north. Well, hell, we're in the air for an hour, and I'm sitting there. I didn't say anything. I'm just a one-stripe Marine. I'm not going to say, excuse me, you know. And I came back and I asked my gunny, I said, well, I've been gone for 3 hours. What's the deal here? And he goes, oh, we forgot to tell you, that's a spotter plane for the artillery. Yeah. So I said, well, I just don't want to, I'm not going to say I won't do it, but I mean, he goes, you need to get on a helicopter and don't get on the little planes anymore. Just wait for a helicopter. And they assigned me a Jeep. If you can take the Jeep, take the Jeep. If not, take the Jeep to a place where you can get a helicopter, you know. And that's what I did the rest of the time I was there. But I spent more time probably in the air anytime than any other place, mostly. Got really good at knowing where I was going. Got that topography down really well. I could actually help the gunners and the pilots, and they'd say, is that hill such and such? I mean, no, that's not it, it's over there. And they'd go to it like that. Not that I was a great Daniel Boone of the jungle, but I mean, I could tell which hill from another, and the pilots loved it, you know. So I guess that's kind of worth something. You know.
So you were trained as a teletype operator,
Yeah.
a technical skill, but in the Marines they say every man.
In the Marines, they say every man's a rifleman. Nice teletype skill you got there, buddy, but we don't need it right now. And when I got to Vietnam, I thought, there's no lines, where's the teletypes and stuff? Well, they did have teletypes. They had a nice comm center. And when it was up and running, it was pretty awesome. I mean, we used to use the yellow tape, you know, and they'd put it down and all this stuff. But I could type 100 words a minute, damn near. And when it was up, it was running because it kept me out of the sky and kept me off the road at night. So I thought, boy, keep going. But that didn't happen all the time. And it was like, okay, here are the messages. And then later on in that, I learned how to memorize the messages because I had a real good, as a brigadier general, you know how general, you know, brigadier, be my little general. You know how that works, right? Okay. Anyway, so he had a 1-star, and he said, look, you would do well if you would try to remember these messages one at a time. You don't have to remember them all when you go out and not take it with you. And he goes, you don't want to get caught with that. And then it occurred to me, I don't want to get caught with this, you know. And so I told him later, I said, make the message quick, make it short, so that I can remember, I can memorize it. They'd give it to me. I wouldn't talk to anybody until I got to where I had to say that message. I mean, I wouldn't even look at people. I would just get to the message, find who I was giving it to, and then blurt it out, you know. And I was real good at forgetting about it. That was it. They got what they wanted. I did what I was supposed to do because I wanted to be a Gomer if I got captured. I didn't wear chevrons, you know. I don't want to be done chevrons. They gave me a .45. I didn't like it. I carried a shotgun, and I had a knife, and that was my K-bar, you know. But I didn't want to get caught with a .45 because the officers wear .45s. And if I got caught, and they knew I had a top secret crypto clearance with top secret information on unit movement and a .45, I wouldn't be here, right? Or I'd probably probably share a room with John McCain, probably, because that was just the biggest fear I had was getting caught over there. You know.
How often were you out on the roads when the teletype went down and you had to send your messages the old-fashioned way? Hop on a helicopter, hop in a Jeep?
At least once a week, maybe two, depends. And it just depended on where you went. I remember the day that it was like, they said something about, don't tell them where you're going. Well, we were going to Laos. Cambodia is south, Laos is north. And we're in I Corps. And I would go over there, and the guy says, well, we don't have a base in Laos. I go, oh, what about the one that's a cement runway with the lights? What's that? You know, and he would say, well, we don't have that. Well, that's good, you know, because I just came from there. And he said, well, we've got more. And then they would show me where they were. But according to whatever was happening back here, we didn't have any bases in Laos. Well, everybody knew that, you know, but apparently we're not supposed to tell anybody, you know. Got me. I never did figure. It was such a political war. I had problems trying to figure the thing out. So after a while, I just quit trying to figure it out. The hell with it. I want to go home.
About how far into your tour did that hit you? Okay.
But it hit me about being political about 8 months into it. When we were doing stuff that it didn't seem like it counted, you know. Their body counts were not right. And I remember coming back and I saw them all lined up. They were dead Viet Cong. And I came back and the guy says, how many? And I said, well, there were like 9 or 10 of them. And then he goes, no. What's the count? And I go, 10. It was like, I know I'm from Indiana, but I got the question, you know. He goes, no, how many? And I said, 10. He goes, no, you mean 50. And I go, oh, I do. And he goes, yeah, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And he got it, and I thought, well, okay. And then he wanted me to sign this thing. I said, well, I can't be accurate on that count. And he looked and smiled. He said, well, you're smart. You don't want to sign it. And I go, no, I'm not. No, there were 10. They weren't 50. But he signed it. He had no problem at all because he was looking to be a commandant or something. And I just wanted one more stripe, so I didn't care. But then I realized, I thought, well, you guys, you're just lying here, you know. Well, there weren't 50 guys there. And we only lost one guy. No, you didn't. You had 5 body bags of our guys sitting there. No, we had one. I go, oh, jeez. And then after that moment, that was hard to stay there. Where am I going to go? But I mean, it was very difficult to stay motivated. And that occurred to me. I said, well, this is the 60s. This is Vietnam. This is different. This isn't my dad's war at all. This isn't even Korea. This is different. And then what do? Do you start questioning? Well, no. You just, in your mind, you do. And I remembered, like I'm talking to you right now, I remembered all that stuff. But then I got home and I couldn't tell anybody. That was difficult too. So.
Even your father?
Later on, when he actually realized that, hey, well, first of all, I outranked him when I came home. He didn't like that. Neither did my uncle. And I always reminded, I said, get me up and get me a beer, you know. They never did. And then anyway, he noticed all the ribbons, you know, and I said, yeah, it was difficult, you know. And he goes, well, yeah, so was mine. And then that was the first time I'd ever heard him talk about it. And I sat there with him and we just talked about it, you know. And it's funny that Marines in a real combat situation, we don't talk about the blood, the gore, all the crap that goes with it. We talked about basically the mission. This is what we had to do. We lost. Well, it does no good to tell him all the things that I saw because he's not going to tell me everything he saw. But that stuff that was, as we looked at, was without being crass or coarse, is part of the job, and we just left it that as, you know, work related. It doesn't demean it, but I mean that's kind of how we dealt with it. And he was real good about that. And we talked a little bit, but then we never talked again about it. Once was enough. It was enough for me. But we did get into it. It's a side of him I never saw before. I would have liked him a lot more if I'd have known about it too. You know.
So that was a breakthrough kind of moment. You had that common denominator.
Yeah, that's when we left the rest of the family behind, and it was just dad and son, and it wasn't too bad. And I just wished he'd had been a little easier going when I was being raised. We probably could have had a really good relationship, you know. But that wasn't allowed with the whole family dichotomy of that. You know, it was just not good. So, and he turned out later on. I just knew he was a good guy because when we'd have those little moments, they were just great. You know, I'm thinking, hey, you're a regular guy, you know. And I'd be sitting there going, oh hell, I'm a regular guy. And that was a dad and a son. And every Father's Day I think about him. I wished we'd had. Well, you can't wish your life away, but it would have been nice to have a little more time away from all the craziness around us, because we did have a lot in common once I came back.
Both veterans, combat veterans, both Marines,
Mm-hmm.
and so you started to speak a language that you both understood.
Oh yeah, he picked up just like that. We're back into Marine speak, and I'm not going to get Marine speak here. We're off the air, you know. But now we talk like Marines, and Martha she didn't like it. She goes, "Well, you just guys are." Well, she had a word for it. I can't remember. But anyway, it was like Eleanor Roosevelt had the greatest quote at all about Marines. But you have to look it up. It's anyway. It was amazing. We were getting down to it, and we were just talking like two Marines. And it wasn't dad and son. It was just two damn Marines talking to each other about a situation that we both had to go through, and we didn't want to. But we do it again, but we didn't want to do it again. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did it. We would do it again, but we don't want to go do it again. But boy, the Marine speak really cuts through a lot of the BS. You can get right to the grit of the conversation. And he turned out to be a pretty normal Marine, and I was too. And I think for the first time, I think he was really proud of me too.
Did you experience, this is going to be a two-part question, did you experience when you came back any what we would term as PTSD or problems with your service?
Not at first. Not at first. That came about, I didn't even know what PTSD was. And it came about later. And it's hard to explain. There's triggers and things that you had seen. Well, I'd seen a lot of stuff, but I didn't think it bothered. Apparently it does. It gets in there and festers, you know, I suppose. And I'd say when I was going through college, a lot of vets don't finish because it's hard to be there. Kids didn't like us. We were called everything. Had a girl dump me when I was over there. Had a girl dump me when I came back, you know. I was sitting there going, I used to walk around going, well, I didn't do anything. You know, what the heck? But it was a terrible time to come back. Well, that weighs on you too. And then you do the survivor's guilt. I enlisted with a buddy of mine. I graduated from high school, Bob Rose, and Bob, he got it the second month he was there. It took me 35 years to find his grave. He was buried in North Dakota. But Bottineau, North Dakota. And I mean, I couldn't find him, and I searched, and it took me years. And I finally found him. I had to go through the VFW to the database, the Department of Defense. I said, well, where is he? You know, and they said Bottineau, North Dakota. And I trekked up there, and I found him. And that was hard. Oh boy, that opened me right up, because there he was, you know. And I thought, and it had Vincennes on his plaque. He had no relatives around there. Nobody knew who he was. It was almost thatched over, which really put me at edge. But I cleaned it up, and I gave him a salute, and I left him a medal, you know, put it on his thing, and I said, I'll see you later, which meant I won't see you later, but I mean, you know, and I left. But I had found him, and then it started hitting me. I took some time out, and I remember calling my wife. She goes, where are you? And I go, Wyoming. And she goes, that's nice. Take your time. Yeah, I'll have to. I wanted to go to Custer's Battlefield and all the things out there, and so I did. But it was like my first real getaway vacation by myself. And then it started mounting up. Do you want me to get into this? I will.
Just whatever you feel comfortable
I will
with.
tell you anything you want to know. I'm not embarrassed to say I have PTSD. That doesn't bother me. I didn't know what it was, and I was told that I had it. And I went to a VA hospital up in Michigan at Battle Creek. And I was having trouble. I thought, if I don't do something about this idiot temper of mine, and I was just ballistic. I'd go ballistic over nothing. I thought, man, this isn't working. So I went up there and I told the guy, I said, I think that I might, little counseling or something. Well, little counseling, they locked me up for a month. Yeah, I know. I mean, they just put me in the hospital, took my Jeep keys away, which that was interesting. We need your keys. No, you're not going to get the keys to the Jeep. Well, yeah, I'll give you the keys to the Jeep, you know, stuff like that. But no, it was like, all of a sudden, I had to focus on this. Well, I didn't know what a trigger was. Well, they got to it. It took them about 3 or 4 weeks. And then I was there another month. And I called my wife. I said, I'm not in Wyoming. I'm in Battle Creek. I can't get out of here. And they gave me 50% disability, just like that. And I said, well, I'm not disabled. Not at all. They go, well, you just might not think you are, you know. And so then we got into the grit of what, I think a lot of it had to do with the body count, the seeing, the smelling, I think that's what the trigger was. They never did get right to the trigger, but they go, you got too many of them. I go, that's good news. And I left there, now I'm 100% with the VA because of that. And I still wonder, where did that come from, you know? But they have counselors. I'll have to say the VA took really, and still does take really good care of me. Not that I go around looking, I'm just saying it's out there. Even if you don't even, you kind of think you need it. You know what? Just go talk to somebody. They're very good about it. Now they know what it is. You know, I've got a couple buddies of mine that were in my unit, and they just think, I don't have PTSD. And they'll growl at you. I go, yeah, sure you don't, you know. But I don't argue with them. You can't argue with them. It was like, well, what did you see I didn't see? Well, no, you saw the same thing, you know. But I just decided I wanted to stay married. I've been married, our 40th anniversary was Sunday. And so I figured that's pretty good. And we had guys that committed suicide that I couldn't understand why they were doing that. But now I know why they were doing it. I didn't understand that. So I'm thinking that it worked out great. They have meds. It's not the Thorazine shuffle. It's just a little, settle down, John. You know, try not to, you know, throw the lawnmower across the yard and stuff like that. Well, my wife noticed it. You know, she goes, that saved the marriage. And then we've been not happily ever after because we're both still living. But I mean, it was like, if you ask her, she would say, yeah, it was good. That was real good. And I didn't know it was good. I mean, I thought it was terrible at the time. And I came back and it was like, oh, they tried to make you cry. Marines don't cry. Oh yeah, they tried. You know, I was come up and it'd get caught in my throat, but I would usually just put it back down. We don't cry. I don't cry. I'm not a good crier. And I asked him about that. I said, what is that? Because, well, if you start crying, you're afraid you can't stop. He goes, and I said, well, I won't start then. He goes, that's what we're telling you, and all these things. And they taught me little things on how to do, like, I do get upset when I'm driving, but I don't pull a pistol out and start shooting at people on the road and stuff. It passes. You have to give it time to pass, and don't look for trouble. It'll find you anyway, so it's okay. So I've been actually, it's been good. I look at the VA as one of the best things that ever happened to me. A lot of guys don't, by gosh, I do. You know, it's there if you ask for it. And then if you accept it, you have to, that's a hard thing too. Somebody walks up, and a guy told me, he says, you're not nuts, you're not nuts. I go, no, my wife thinks I am. And she goes, no, you're not nuts. It's a disorder, and it comes from stress that no one else would ever have of that level. And then when I understood that, everything kind of mellowed out a little bit. I don't joke around about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't joke around with they always kidded with me, well, we got a great sense of humor. And I said, I use it as a defense mechanism. Stay away from me. And I go, yeah, keep doing it. That's good. One guy said, the farther away they are from you sometimes. And I go, yeah, I know. And honest to God, the doctor at Battle Creek comes up and he said, you play the banjo? And I said, well, yeah. And he said, well, play it. So I played it. He goes, well, that's what you should do. He wrote it up. He wrote it up that I should play the banjo. And I'm going, I've never had a prescription. Usually it's an invite to leave town with a banjo, you know. We kind of joked about it. He said, no. He said, the way you play, you need to do that. And so I did, and I've been playing ever since. I've been having a great time. And the 100% meant I didn't have to work and the stress of all the stuff that went with it. And I started playing banjo. Now I'm playing all the time. And I'm just having a great time with it. And I had carpal tunnel surgery on the right hand, a bluegrasser, and then it came on the left. And so I thought, that's so much for that. And I told the guy at the VA, and he goes, oh, if you don't get this taken care of, you won't be able to play the banjo. And I go, well, probably not. He flips through the thing. He goes, well, according to Dr. Baines in Battle Creek, you have to do. So they did it. They did it down in Indianapolis, and I'm sitting there going, who would do that? Who would, other than the VA? But he had written it down. Don't let him get it to the point where he can't play the banjo. It's the only thing that he really, really liked. Sure enough, and they did the operation and everything, I'm still playing. I thought that, that's an organization that I like. I talked to the director of it when I was in DC last year, and walked up to him and I said, I'm a Vietnam vet. And boy, you can just see them, they kind of back up a little bit. And I go, no. I wanted to let you know that the VA was great, and I appreciate it. Saved me and my family and stuff. Well, I thought he was going to start crying. And he goes, we don't get that hardly at all. And I said, that's okay. Just know that it's out there. You're fine. You don't need hugs. And one, we're not going to hug you. But I mean, I said, just relax. I just wanted to let you know. Then he actually wrote me back. He said, that just was it. That made it. He goes, I said, just keep it, you know. And anyway.
Do you feel that, the second part of my question was, your father had that common experience of been through combat, was a Marine, and when you start feeling these pressures come in on you, were you able to talk to him? Was he able to help you?
Nope.
No.
And
is that a Marine thing?
It's
or
definitely a Marine
father-son?
thing, and it could be a father-son, but it's definitely a Marine thing. Nothing wrong with you. You'll get over it. You'll outgrow it. Be tough. Blah 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 blah.
Okay.
And he had it too, but but they called it battle fatigue, I think, in those days. And no, you don't do that. And when I'm around a bunch of Marines, I don't talk about it either, unless somebody knows. I'm not ashamed or inhibited to tell you. Obviously, I'm telling you. It doesn't bother me to say that, because I figure you have to have some degree of courage to be able to say, hey, something's not right here. Go fix it. I'm a go fix it guy. So I went to Battle Creek and fixed it. And I still have it. You can't cure it. I kept looking for the shot. Just give me the shot. There's no shot for it. Okay, give me the pills for it. No, there's no pills for it. You got it forever, but you can manage it. And they taught me how to manage it. And so I would watch yourself a little bit.
we last year when we did this program, we talked to a young lady who was in Iraq in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
She was in military police, and she came back with PTSD. And she used the experience. She went through the VA, had a semi-positive experience, but her outcome was she became an advocate, and she started her own nonprofit agency and is getting a graduate degree in psychology to work with veterans. It's veterans working with veterans. Do you find yourself in situations where you say, okay, I can't change your mind, but I'm going to advocate? Do you feel like you're an advocate for seeking help, getting help?
I've always been that way. I mean, I probably the reason I'm here is you called around and looked for somebody that knows a vet in town. Well, I'm kind of it. I talk straight, tell them what's going on. Don't try to make their mind up and say this is what's available. I'm a big don't bother me. They love that. And I always never hesitate to not call me. I always tell them that. And but I will tell them this is where you go, but you have to do it sequentially. The biggest thing I have with vets is they have to be patient. As I told them, I said the VA, the medical part is different from the administrative part. Everybody knows the administrative part is going to be the real pain in your side. The medical part will be great, but you got to get through the administrative to get to the medical part. And you can't go down. A lot of them will say, well, I'm going to go down there. I'm just going to tell them all about it. Yeah, well, just let me know how that works out for you, because you're not going to work, and you're going to set yourself back months, if not years, of getting benefits to get the help. And I usually when I'm playing music out there, a lot of vets will come up, because I'll always wear something that says I'm a vet. If they don't know it by now, they just don't know it. And they'll say, hey, I heard this and this, that, and the other, and this guy said this, that, and I will always go, well, I don't have time for that, and that just baits them right into it, I guess. And they'll come, no, I got to talk to you. Okay, all right, and I'm not begrudgingly at all, but I'll get there, because what it does, it relaxes them, and they tell me what's going on. Well, I can help focus. Now, I don't understand the nuances of desert, the stuff they're doing, the house to house, the rules of engagement. See, we didn't have that in those days. I think going house to house over in Baghdad would have been terrible. I think that would be, it's not being able to see around. Geez, give it up. Back in the day, ask Fred Glancy about it. Back in the day, you level the walls and then you go in, but they don't do that now. And I think it's definitely hard for them, really hard. And the Vietnamese didn't use their kids like they use them over there, I didn't think. I never saw the kid with the acid and I never saw that. I never saw a kid with anything strapped to him or nothing like that. And I just didn't see it, Now there might have been, but I sure didn't see it. And then the Iraqis, I just call it the litter box. I have no idea. It's all those countries together, whatever. They come back, and every one of them's got a different story, but yet it's all the same. And I usually just tell them to relax, just take a break. I'll tell you what you can do, and then you break it down so that it's not this huge hill that they have to go through to get benefits. You just take it a step at a time, and you got to be patient. You got to be patient. It's a government bureaucracy, so you have to handle it with that. Relax, and I helped quite a few get their benefits, and they always, I got it. I got my money. Well then, and I don't want it, but it's always funny, how much you going to give me? And it's funny when they watch up, all of a sudden their wallet gets real tight. Well, no, yeah, and that's good. I'm just always kidding with them about that. But I said, you took my advice, and everything's fine. And you may not gotten the rating you wanted, but you got a rating, and then you just appeal that and just go up. Now, all the rating I had from the VA, they just gave me. They just said, you're this. Well, okay, fine with me, And then they finally came up to 100% and said, you got to stop working. You just, I said, well, I like to work. Well, I'll work at a different thing, So I did.
banjo.
Banjo. And I started playing. That's amazing. I mean, this last 3 years has just been great. I mean, everybody, now that I'm retired from the store that my wife and I own, it's like I have time, and they know I've got time. So I get calls all the time to play. I play a couple times at least a week, different places and venues and stuff like that. And one old boy last time, he said, you're still pretty good. Well, thanks, I appreciate it, And then I had a girl, she says, boy, it's great to see you playing at your age. Thank you, I appreciate that too. And you just kind of like roll along with it, And I asked one guy, I said, I'm supposed to quit at 67? And I didn't read that anywhere. And then you lighten up. We have a professor over here, Frank Groom, who teaches here at Ball State. Well, his whole class comes over Monday night at the Fickle Peach downtown, where we always play. And his whole class is there. And they're a lot more fun than hanging around people my age. And we just laugh and carry. And Frank just eats it up. He said, I swear their grades have gotten better coming down here. And so I said, yeah, there is life after Ball State. There's life after the Marine Corps. And Frank got a kick out of it. He said, you're hard to live with, but boy, you're great to live with. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell does that mean, And Frank goes, you got stuff that these kids over here could use. Vets can use it and stuff like that. And he said, you're good about sharing it. And I go, well, yeah, it's not mine, Yeah.
When they're not asking you about music, and maybe they see your Marine Corps emblem, what do they ask you about your service, and what do you tell them?
Well, when they ask me about my service, if they start it with, did you kill anybody? Then I don't talk to them anymore. Then I write down on a Post-it note, these are the questions that you don't ask, okay? But I haven't had that asked to me in a long, long time, and I like that. The rest of them is, what did you do after you got out? They always want to know that. And I tell them, I went to school. That's what I did. Now I play banjo, which is an oxymoron if you think about it. That's a banjo joke, and I'm trying to be, yeah, anyway, I'd probably edit it out. But anyway, it was the whole fact was that there is life after school. There's life after this, and I proof of that. And you can basically do what you want to, but you got to get the gumption to, put your boots on and go do it. You can't wait around for it. And then I don't start talking like my parents' generation. Oh, these lazy kids today. Well, I know better than that. And then it's also they call it the entitlement generation. Well, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. There's a lot of people out there that graduate, that work, that they go to different things. And Ivy Tech is a good thing of that. It gives you something. Not everybody's going to be a sociologist, I don't call a sociologist when my plumbing I need to call a plumber, And I tell a lot of folks that, because there's honesty and integrity of work, period. Doesn't matter what you do, you go do that. And a lot of vets like that. They think of school as you got to go to college. No, you don't. What are you good at? And then they tell me, go to Ivy Tech, go to Ball State. Ball State has stuff too. And Ball State has a lot of stuff, but they look at Ball State as sort of the, I don't know, college kid type. And I tell them, I said, don't let them bother you. Just go over there and do what you have to do. And the kids have changed. When I went to school, it was terrible. I don't see that now. Of course, I'm not here either, but I mean, I talk to folks that go to Ball State and they like it. I kind of always tell them to go to IU instead of Ball State, and that doesn't work. But that's going to get edited out too, I'm sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Let me go back. You had said something earlier, and I've heard it from other veterans that John Mann said, my Vietnam War is going to be different from other veterans' Vietnam War. What differences did you see with the Marines being up north when you get together and talk to other veterans? What differences do you encounter? And what common threads hold you together?
Well, let's go with the common thread first. Political war, heat. We weren't healthy. I remember that. I was very skinny, and I'm not going to get into, the corpsman gave me a shot for the food. And it was like, we know we have that in common. But then we get into Vietnam was so big. There was over 1 million guys went through that damn war. It was a 10-year war, for heaven's sakes. You know, so at some point they should have stopped, but whatever. And the country is just so, you know, so big that there's 3 corps, I Corps, 2 Corps, 3 and 4 Corps. And I was in I Corps up north. Well, that's where the Marines hang out. And then 2 Corps, some Marine, some Army. And then 3 and 4 Corps was usually always Army, you know. And there were other units there too. They were like, people just say, they laugh at the Coast Guard. Well, the Coast Guard was there. They did the whole China Sea. They were out there. They're on the wall. There's Coast Guardmen on the wall. You know, the Air Force, they kid about the Air Force. And the Air Force was without them sometimes. We'd have been in a world of hurt. And the Navy, well, we always, Marines look at them as transportation. But they gave us everything. You know, we wouldn't have corpsmen without the Navy and stuff. So when the Marines get together, we're thinking, okay, first of all, where were you? And that helps everybody focus. And then sometimes, if it's a real vet, there's a lot of wannabes out there now, which is really weird. I don't understand either. They didn't like us then, but now they want to be like us. So I'm not real sure, but they would say, this is where I was. And I don't hesitate to say, I don't know where that is. And once you do that, you endear yourself to them. I mean, right then and there, you're telling them, I don't know where that is. That means you're a real vet. You know, if you just automatically, well, yeah, I know where that is, you know, well, how do you know where that is, you know? So then you connect that way. And I could just see where he was talking about, you know, there's a lot of things you have to do, and it was always little questions that we ask each other to make sure. And then when you find out where we are, then everybody has a different mission. But the other thing was, we came over, like I said before, as individuals. Well, I didn't have a unit, so I don't know if I got anything in common with anybody, you know. Everything I did over there seemed like I was on my own in a relative sort of a way. So we talk about that too. We always talk about that. And then it's like, what did you do? And we talk about, I flew around. And of course, I always say I'm with the Air Wing, and they go, well, you're not a real Marine unless you're a grunt rifleman. And I got to get this on camera. I was trying to be a grunt, but they caught me reading a book. You know, yeah, I want that. Print that. But anyway, I tell I'm going to have guys just kicking me all around the place. But the whole deal was, that's how we do it. We just say, they always give the Air Wing a hard time. Well, without us, you wouldn't have had mail, you wouldn't have had dust off. You know what dust off is, right? You wouldn't have had food, you wouldn't have had meds, you wouldn't have had anything without us like that. So basically, you're nothing without us. And then the conversation, once we have that level ground, it's really good. You know, I didn't know a lot of things that went on around me. You know, Lee Ermey, Gunny Ermey of Full Metal Jacket, well, he was 2 hooches down from me on Highway 1. And I met him at Richmond at the Marine Corps League. And then somebody says where he was, and I looked at him and I said, glad to meet you. Where were you? And he told me, and I said, oh, okay. And the guy walked up, the other Marine, goes, well, you guys are almost neighbors. And then, of course, Ermey's very funny. He goes, oh, yeah, well, John and I used to hang out all the time down here, you know, and all this stuff. And I'm going, and I played along. And, yeah, Lee, we're out there all the time. I'd never seen him before in my life, you know. That narrows, that kind of helps people focus on the idea that you can be right next to somebody and not know who they are. And that's how Vietnam is. It's a what would be, am I looking at segregated type thing. You're separated. You might be next door, but you're actually in a different unit. So your Vietnam is totally different than anybody else's. And in common, yeah, we're all in Nam. We're going to be there for over a year. Might as well get used to it. So we did. We looked out for each other. But the whole deal was, every guy's Nam is different. It's totally different. You could have 4 guys in here talking about Vietnam, and you're going to get 4 different stories. Like, who would fly around in helicopters? Well, that would be me. You know, well, who was in a tank? Well, that would be him, you know, and stuff. And that's how, but we were all there. You know, we know what a mortar sounds like and what it feels like and stuff like that. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Did it feel like when you were there, you talked about being segregated, but on a personal level, did it feel like a private war? You went over alone, you came back alone, and what effect did that have on your later life?
Yeah, yes. The idea of being alone, being by myself, that was part of the PTSD. That was a burden I didn't know I actually had. But when I was there, I was definitely on my own. You know, I knew that I was with a unit, but you know, whatever happened to me, I was pretty much kind of in control of it. I'm on guard duty by myself. I'm in an aircraft by myself. I'm in the Command Operations Center by myself. I'm explaining to a one-star general. I remember walking in there and they had the big screen with the orange or green paint, how they used to do the grease paint. And I'm looking at it, and he walked up to me, the colonel, he goes, "Is there something wrong with this?" Private, like I had no rank. And, but I did, I just didn't wear it. And I didn't want to. Anyway, he walked up and he said, "That's not right." I said, "That's definitely not right." And I said, "You can't blame the guy that just did that." I said, "That's kind of your guy. I told you where that unit was." And he goes, "Well, is that unit still there?" And I go, "No, they moved. They moved over here. That's why I sent the message." And I was amazed that there was that little of communication. I'm just a little old private walking around. I know where the unit is. Well, why do you have it up there like that? I'm sure glad you didn't call an airstrike in on that, because they're over here. And then after that, unbeknownst to me, it was our responsibility to check in every time we came in to let them know the board was right. But that's a little much. I mean,
for a low ranker
kid sitting there, the board is this big, and I had to look at the whole thing, make sure everything was right. Well, I wonder if I missed something, And I was always pretty good. I would remember that board, and I'd come in there real quick. As soon as I got back, I'd come in, and I'd say, "Well, that's good," or "This unit moved," or "I just got back and told this unit to move because you told me to tell them to move," and that was difficult. That was too much weight for a kid from Indiana, I thought.
Did you feel disappointment then in your leadership? Your training was good, but what about the leadership?
Leadership, I thought, waned a lot over there. They were too busy trying to make rank, I think. When they had to start making stuff up, that really upset me. The body count was bad. We have an offensive and this, that, and that. Well, no, we never lost a battle, but I think there were some offensives that we didn't do well at. And all the stuff, they were embellishing their own career over there. And that's when it got to the idea, well, this is kind of political and I need to kind of move along. I was thinking about staying in the Marine Corps, but no, it would have been terrible. I'd have ended up in Leavenworth, and then you could do the interview there. I'm sure they have a nice, TCOM building there.
Probably.
Yeah, trains of prisoners, I guess. I don't know. Does this feel like Leavenworth sometimes? You're not going to answer that. Okay.
No, I need to stay employed.
Yeah, you do.
Of course.
Yeah.
Did you, personally talking about you and your mission, you're being a courier, take me through driving to or getting to another outpost and your feelings as you were getting there or doing that.
I thought about driving at night was horrendously scary. My buddy even actually told my wife about, well, he used to get in the Jeep at the middle of the night, 3 in the morning, drive off. And we're all sitting there going, goodbye, because I can drive with a pistol or a rifle in one hand and this, that, and the other, But I had to get the messages out. I just had to. And there was no aircraft, so it was like get in the Jeep and go. I'm sitting there going, oh, geez, it's the middle of the night, Many times I did it, and I'm thinking I don't know if I'm going to get through this one. And you don't drive too fast because if you do, the engine on those little mutts rev too high and you can hear it coming a mile. So I just put it in 4th gear very calmly, go down the road, deliver them calmly. Yeah, it's calm. But I mean, it was just horrendously stressful for me to do that. And I thought there's just got to be a better way of communicating to send this little Indiana boy out here in the middle of the night. Well, there wasn't. And I thought, well, you guys could have thought through a little on that. Radio, anything. But there I was, 3 o'clock in the morning, driving down the road, and I'm thinking, I don't know, I mean, your peripheral vision is 360 when you're driving down the road. It's amazing. I was seeing stuff back that I'd passed, miles back, just hyper vigilant, just tense from the stress of being out there alone, and it was just like, I should have taken, I always ask guys, you want to go with me and be the gunner? Okay, I guess I can die alone, I guess, but the whole deal was I didn't blame him. You don't want to go out there. I try to stay away from that, but I would maybe once a month, maybe twice a month, find myself out there driving around. It was terrible, and I always try to find a way. I would always say, can it wait till morning? If this isn't a critical message, can it wait till I can get an aircraft? Sometimes, yeah, but most times to get in the Jeep. Okay, so I'd do it. But it was, thank God, nothing happened to me. Can you imagine? Nothing happened. I mean, I act like I'm surprised, but I mean, it was just nothing happened. And I'm thinking, hot damn, I lived all right. I'm doing fine, I got back after, I lived through Tet, 2 Bob Hopes, and almost a year and a half over there and didn't get hurt. I mean, that's where the survivor's guilt comes in, I guess. But I didn't have survivor's guilt, I didn't think. Basically, it was like, got lucky on that one. Time to get out of the Marine Corps. God knows what's down the pike.
Did you ever, obviously others in your unit were going out on patrol, were going out into the jungle. Was there ever a time as you're driving down the Jeep at night, I'd rather be with those guys out on patrol? Did you talk about that? Did they envy you or did you envy them?
Well, I didn't want to go out. I mean, I didn't want to be in the bush. I mean, I would have, obviously. I liked my job, They always thought it was great driving around in the Jeep, except when I told them I was out at night, and then they would rather be with their unit. I go, you would stay there? Well, you're kind of out there, And I go, yeah. I never really wanted to. I was inadvertently in the bush with them, delivering messages and stuff. They lived pretty bad, and I thought, and I didn't live good, but I didn't live bad, and I could go back. I mean, hell, I could take a shower, every 2 or 3 weeks. That's pretty good, and just the idea that they're out there. But then knowing that they're out there, I had no problem at all going to them. If you're out there, I'm fine. I can go too. Give them the message, but I always left, and they always liked that. They wanted to steal my dog tags, get me down, take the dog tags off, and they could be me for a week, and I'm going, get out of here. And God love them, though. They just were just a bunch of Marines, and so was I, all trying to get home. That's all we wanted to do is get home, get the hell out of here,
Did your behaviors and routine change as you got short?
Yeah, I tried, when I got short, I tried to back off. That didn't work, and I thought, okay, I'm going to start playing it safe. Well, how do you do that? How do you play it safe? All right, then I had a guy say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're going to get it on the plane heading home. As soon as you get off the thing, you're gone. Okay, but so you didn't worry about it. You never knew. I mean, you could be next, and you just didn't know. But as you get shorter, especially after living through Tet and all that stuff, you're thinking, oh, not now, not now. Then, yeah, but not now. I'm so close. It was amazing. It was. And I remember the last day I was there, I was supposed to be at the comm center doing something, and I just snuffed that off. I said, forget it. And this guy comes, well, you're going to have to make that night up. Yeah, I'm going to make it up. You're right. I'm going to make it up. I'll see you, Lieutenant. And, all right, we'll expect you in duty and this, that, and that. Now, I just left. I went over to the airport, and I waited for the plane. I figured, if you want to come and get me, it's okay. But that was my attitude. No, I don't need to go do that. And I risked not following orders that last couple days, but I didn't care. We're going to do something in Vietnam, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of this place. And it was just like, and I did. I was real happy. I remember the plane ride as it cleared 10,000 feet, erupted, only for about 5 minutes. And then we all fell asleep. And I asked a girl about it later. She goes, oh, you guys are great. She goes, you're quiet when you're taking off. Everybody's looking out because you could see stuff coming at you. You knew what it looked like. They're all looking out the window. And then we get at 10,000 feet, and you could feel the plane kind of start leveling off, and then the skipper would come on and says, we're out of range. And everybody goes crazy. She goes, but it only lasts about a minute, and then you guys just fall asleep. And she goes, and you sleep for like 12 hours on the plane. And she goes, and they turn the lights down? Excuse me, and they never bothered us. It was amazing. I woke up in Okinawa. I'm going, it's a hell of a flight. Don't remember it. But the whole deal was they didn't wake you up. I mean, it's the first time we felt we could sleep. Whoa, we slept. And it was very cool. She goes, we don't give you drinks, food, or nothing because you guys don't want anything except a pillow. And I go, yeah. And I thought that was interesting, that we finally learned to relax. We got to Okinawa, and looked like we'd been liberated, that we had to get rid of, my clothes were like, I had sleeves rolled up only because they went only that far down. They were all rotted off, and whatever. So we got rid of everything. Wished I kept my boots, but it's another thing. And they sprayed us down with this powder stuff, and I remember guys saying, it looks like we're liberated. What the hell's that? Well, it was all the vermin that was on us and stuff. And then had to stay on that for about, I think it was like 5 minutes or something with that crap on us. And then we showered down with hot water. It was awesome, you know. Yeah, it was cool like that. And my shower lasted about an hour and a half. I don't know why it lasted that long, but I figured I'll stay until the hot water runs out. But it never ran out. By this time, I'm looking like a pickle. But then that washed this stuff. Then I realized that I don't have the vermin on me anymore. It's nothing. I don't itch. This is a good feeling. And then I come out and go, but I don't have any clothes. Well, they gave us all new clothes and stuff. Well, that's the first time I had new socks and the skivvies. I mean, getting into I never had. We didn't wear underwear over there. I didn't wear it. So, but all of a sudden I've got it. I'm going, be damned. I used to wear those, you know, and stuff like that. And we were like a bunch of kids. We went in to feed us. You know what we ate? We ate real eggs. They had real eggs, and real milk, real beef. You know, and ice cream, and that's what they gave us, and they knew what we wanted. Well, I don't have vegetables and all. Yeah, no. I want real meat, and it was the first glass of whole milk I had. Then we were told that you can't gulp it down. You got to ease yourself into this stuff. There's a lot more protein than what you're used to. But and it did. They let us stay there for about 2 or 3 days, and that's the whole. I can't remember. And like a glass of whole milk was just like gold. Good Lord, did it taste good? And I really didn't even think I missed it. I didn't miss it until I got to around the ice cream thing. Oh, damn, let's have a little more of that ice cream. We could put a little on the steak, you know. And I know, you laugh, and I laugh about it too, but you have to understand if you're deprived of something for so long and you get it back, it's just like the Holy Grail, my God, you know. But I remember they would only let us eat so much because you're going to get sick. And so we did. And I remember when I got home, my mother was trying to feed me, and they actually called her and said, now look, let him graze. They were into grazing. Just have stuff for him to graze. He's got to take his time. He has no stomach left, you know, just let him graze. And she always was good about that. She did have stuff, you know, and I didn't try to overkill. And it took me about a month to be able to eat normal. See, you don't realize when you come back how really difficult it was to go through all that until you try to eat again, you know, and stuff. Boy, we were skinny. You know.
So you had a physical transition to make from the war zone to home, but you were still in the Marines for how long after that?
About a year and a half. That wasn't good. That wasn't good at all. I had a duty station in San Diego as an instructor. They made me an instructor. Well, that wasn't good. Spit and polish. And here I am from the bush. Spit and polish at San Diego Marine Corps Recruit Depot. And I'm sitting there going, this isn't working. Finally, the top came up and he goes, this isn't working. I go, I know. And he goes, you keep it up, you're going to get court-martialed. You know? He goes, when they give you an order, don't. No, I'm not going to do it. So he said, we can send you back to the fleet. And I did. And he goes, in fact, with your record, where do you want to go? And I said, well, if I'm going back to the fleet, I don't think I got much choice. He goes, yeah, you do, because you only have so much time left. So I said, Okinawa would be nice. So they sent me to Okinawa or Camp Butler, and that was like being on R&R. I just thought it was great. I reported in, and what do I do? What's my job? You don't have a job. We'll call you when we need you. Well, they never needed it. It's what it was to get these guys to a place where they can, like, what it would be, I don't know what it's called, but you unwind a little bit. I was at the comm center, but hell, I never went in there, you know. Comm center to me was up in the air, you know. But I remember that I learned how to snorkel and all that stuff. I was in the ocean a lot, and I learned what jellyfish, how they hurt. So yeah, it was great. And then it was just like get out, do something, go to the beach. But I had duties, but boy, they were like not minimal at best. And then I realized there's a lot of us that were there and you would think we'd be drinking it up and carrying on, but we weren't. We were just like relaxing, take it easy, you know.
Was that a necessary transition into eventual civilian life?
I think so. I did not know it at the time. I didn't know what transition was at the time, but the Marine Corps apparently did. Somebody told them, because the duty was extremely light, and I wasn't the only one. And I was amazed at how little I was doing with the rank that I had. At that time, I'd kind of gotten up there, but they just kind of left us alone. I don't know what they thought about us, or I didn't know. I remember we're standing on the parade deck at Okinawa, and you're discharged. And I remember, thank you for serving your country. And the guy next to me goes, they just discharged us in the middle of the ocean. I go, well, I assume we can find our way back. You know, we had that humor. But we really weren't discharged. Basically, we were off. I was now into inactive reserve, but still in the Corps. And then I came back to Evansville, Indiana, and my dad had gotten sick, so they gave me a hardship discharge for him, take care of him, which I took, just like that. And then the rest is, you know, then I went on to civilian life, whatever the hell that was. It would have been better if I'd have stayed in the Corps, but maybe not. You can't tell.
You think the same problems with PTSD would have cropped up in the Corps as you had in civilian life?
It would have not been good in the Corps either. It would probably put me in the brig. They didn't deal with it at all. I mean, Marines just, you screw up, you're in the brig. And so it was good that I got out. I'm sure it was good that I got out. I wasn't a real good civilian, but I would have been in trouble if I'd have stayed in the Corps. Or it wouldn't have been good. We were very highly trained, highly motivated, very in shape guys. We figured we were crapped on. We had that attitude. We were extremely, obviously proud that we were Marines. To this day, we are Marines. We're not former, we're not ex, we're Marines. That was good, but they just didn't have a handle on it back in those days. You'd have thought they would, but later on they did. So,
in your personal journey, for you, it came down to family, and you had to overcome your pride to seek help.
To put my pride in my hip pocket was hard. That was terribly hard. I mean, for me to walk through the doors at the hospital at Battle Creek, I sat in the Jeep for 30 minutes before I even walked in. I thought, oh, you big chicken shit. What's wrong with you, you big baby? You know, I mean, I called myself everything. You know, I'm sitting there, you're a Marine, you don't need this crap, you know. But then I would sit there and go, the hell you don't. You know, get your butt up and get in there. I mean, I was actually kicking my butt to get in. I'm telling myself, you know. I said, what, are you afraid? You know, are you chicken to go in there, you know, and shit like that. And I goaded myself through those doors. And I remember the nurse going, can I help you? And I'm going, I don't know. Like that. She goes, oh, yes, we can. She recognized it just like that. And the rest is, there was a hard 2 months, but it was very worth it. Good Lord Almighty. When they finally hit the trigger, that precipitated the, is precipitated the word? Anyway, that got the PTSD rolling. That was terrible. That was a full week of hard time for me. But it was great. Does that make sense? It was hard and good at the same time, good and bad at the same time. I don't know. It was just going through it. First of all, I didn't know what the hell it was. And then the second thing is I thought I was nuts. I'm not nuts. Why? You know, it was just like it's a disorder, and they had to tell me that. And it took me a week to understand that, you know. But they could have done that when I came, but they didn't know. It would have been nice if the time at Okinawa, they'd had a detox or something. Because, I mean, I was a guy that thought I had it made. No, I wasn't a grunt. I wasn't out there every day. I was inadvertently in it, but I felt guilty. I thought, what the hell have I got PTSD for? Well, I found out as we sit there. They got to it. And they said, well, of course you remember that. And I remember talking about it, and it was just, you can't imagine what you see. You just can't imagine. And apparently what I saw wasn't good. And I didn't handle it as well as I thought. You can only bury stuff so far. And then it just came right back up in the form of anger. You know, I was a dangerous man there a lot of times. And I didn't need to be. I didn't like myself when I was like that. I'd snap at anybody. You know, I mean, I'll tear your head off, and that was terrible. You can't go through life like that. And that's what occurred to me. You just can't go through life like that. And I'm not a bully. I've never been a bully. I will stop a fight, but I don't recall ever starting one. And it was just like, okay, fine. Okay, you know, so do something. So I did. And I think I'm kind of proud of myself for that.
Do you think the 20-year-old, 21-year-old you, fresh out of the service or sitting in Camp Butler, would have had that same kind of presence of mind?
No. I was all Marine at 21. I was a devil dog from the get-go. Sign of weakness, you know, big sign of weakness. John Wayne syndrome. Don't say you're sorry. Quit saying you're sorry for yourself. No, hell no. I wasn't even close. I wished I was, but I wasn't. Every Vietnam vet that I've ever met, that you were talking about the similarity, we're all similar. Whether we get, however we accept it, to what degree we accept it, but they seem to understand. Especially when I tell them I didn't ask for the percentage from the VA. They shoved it on me. I had no idea. Because I thought I actually didn't think I had it bad over there. Apparently I had it worse than I thought. I didn't know some of the stuff I was seeing was that bad. Boy, it was. But I thought it was all part of the job. That doesn't minimize it, but you have to look at it as a job. It's kind of what we do, you know.
Does that, I guess, hindsight, it's 2020, and you can look back now and see what you glossed over or suppressed. Can you relate to the younger veterans who are coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan better, and what do you say to them?
Well, I can. Their Freedom of Information Act was a great one. They can know more than we did. They can say more, I believe. We can relate to each other in a sense that we went through a really bad situation and handled it as best we could. They're better at handling PTSD now. They didn't even know what it was when I got out. Our similarities, I had a guy that was over there, called me on a cell phone. Called me on a cell phone. I go, "Where are you?" And he was somewhere around Baghdad or something. I'm going, and I thought it was like, no, you're not. You're across the street giving me a hard time. Because it's the sand. He goes, it's getting in everything. And it gets in everything. And I go, well, we'll just hop underneath of a 6x and take grease off the axle, put it in the palm of your hand, and then rub it over all the places where sand could get in, and it won't get in there anymore. That's a Vietnam trick, you know. We had water. And he calls back, and he's talking to a gunny who was the recruiter at the time, and he's on the phone talking to him, and he says, Gunny looked up at me, goes, "Oh, this is such and such." He says, "Thanks for the tip," because all the stuff is working. And I go, "Well," and I was just sitting there, yeah, and like, yeah, and he goes, "Well, that's part of the training that they could have used a Vietnam vet on, because of the stuff. We'll show you how to keep your stuff going." Well, I thought everybody knew that, but they didn't. And I mean, well, one of his questions was, where am I going to get the grease? "Oh, trust me, get underneath the truck, you'll find some." And he did. And I said, you can't just daub it on there. You got to put it on your hand, make it thin, and it works. And he came back later. He goes, "Everything worked." And I go, "That's what I told you, you know." And that's a matter of a fact that one vet to another. Well, yeah, it's, you know, but to him it wasn't. But to me it was. It was kind of like, hey, we connected there. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. You don't, when you get together with other veterans, and I don't know if you're a member of the Legion or any of those veterans organizations, or even if they come to the mobile wall, and you talk to these younger veterans, is there a connection that is still made?
Yeah, there. Let me give you, of course you can edit anything else, so I can tell you what I feel about this. I came back to American Legion. My dad introduced me to the bartender, and he said, "This is Johnny, he's back from Vietnam." And the bartender at the American Legion goes, "Oh, they lost that war." And then I thought my dad and my uncle were going to crawl across the bar at him, and I said, "Just stop. I didn't come here to fight. The guy's an idiot." So we left, and he goes, my dad he's on a mission. So we go to the VFW, and, you know. We go down there, and he goes, and he said, "This is Johnny, just got back from Vietnam." And the bartender goes, "Well, he can't buy a beer here." Well, my dad heard we were not going to serve him a beer here. Well, I heard beer's on the house, and it was on the house. So I had to I think I'm getting free beer. Don't ruin this, you know. And then I've been a lifetime member of the VFW ever since. But that's your father's Oldsmobile, you know. They tolerated us, but they didn't really want us around. Okay, fine. So along comes the Vietnam Veterans of America. Well, of course I'm going to join that, you know. They're the ones that got me started on trying to understand PTSD. We put up the wall, and we did all this stuff. All of a sudden now we got a big connection coming on. And it helps us relate to the vets that are coming back. Now they don't have any walls or monuments yet, you know, but they will eventually. They like ours. A lot of the vets like our wall and stuff. And that helps. Vietnam veterans, now there's I don't know, something Veterans of Iraq, or there's another organization that's out there, Iraq Veterans of America or something.
I think that's it.
Is that it? And yeah, they basically parrot what we're doing in their their generation thing that they put up with. So they've realized, but a lot of them don't join. Their legions are closing down, and the VFWs are probably. But that's that's okay. I mean, you didn't want us then. Now that you're losing membership, you'd like to have us all in there. Well, I'm sorry, pal. We kind of took care of ourselves, which is what we do best, and that's why those Iraqi Veterans of America, Vietnam Veterans of America. I belong to the chapter down at Indianapolis, which brings in the moving wall, and there was also another wall at, I think, was it Winchester? I think there was
Richmond
one.
or Winchester.
Yeah, and so I'm a member down. So I went down there, and I was driving the shuttle around. It was kind of cool, and we were driving the shuttle possibly a little far. It was at Fort Bend, and I picked a guy up, and he goes, "Where's getting lunch?" So we drove over to the golf course. Never mind. It was. I don't want that out there because they'll never let me do it again, probably. But where have you been? Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it was. That was fun that you have with other vets, and it took some time when I picked the vets up in the shuttle. Where's the wall? And I'd say it's over there, and you inevitably get somebody goes, take time, we got all day, Well, they didn't want to go to the wall real quick. They just wanted to, So I'd just go and I'd park a little bit of ways from it, and I'd say it's over there. Get to it when you can, and I have Bob Rose on the wall, so I could tell him the wall starts at the apex. It starts. I don't know if people know that or not. It doesn't start at the end. It starts in the middle. Yeah, and you go right, and then you have to go around, and you come around, and it ends. It starts and ends at the same spot, and you have to explain that to the guys. A lot of guys don't know that. They think because the first name on the far end is Anderson. Well, that tells you it's alphabetical order. No, it's not. But you get them that and. Explain the apex. If they know the history of the wall, they do well. They don't. Sometimes they have a problem with Maya Lin, who designed it. Well, she's Vietnamese, And I have some. I said, no. She's cool. She's very cool. I have been going to the wall. Jan Scruggs started it. Been going to the wall for a long time. And I met. Remember the picture of the girl running down the road with nothing on? She just been. Well, I met her there at the wall, and she turned out fine. And she talks about that experience. And she always tells us, she goes, it's not you guys. It was the South Vietnamese Air Force that did that. She goes, but you guys got blamed for it. Yeah, I got blamed for everything. But it was they did it. We didn't do that. So anyway, she was there. I got to meet Maya Lin. I got to meet President Reagan. Reagan was the one that actually got the wall going. He cut through all the red tape. Jan Scruggs went over and said, we can't get permits. We're having troubles getting this. We're getting trouble. And I remember the quote from Ronald Reagan was, when do you want to start? That was his quote. And Scruggs goes, well, anytime. We started the next morning. I mean, he just, like that. And he came to the dedication. He's one of my heroes. He was so cool. I don't know all about the politics and stuff like that. But boy, and he gets around vets. He was very good. And we got the wall because of him. The statue of the three guys, that came from Ross Perot. We weren't really into that too much, but that glorified it, I think, too much. It made us look like we're these, and we're on the wall, but whatever. And then they asked the membership what other statue you'd like to have. Well, it's obvious we want nurses, And so the Nursing Association of America or something, I don't know, it's the big one, They're the ones that contribute most of the money. We don't have that much money, but they did. And I remember the dedication of the Nurses Monument, and I lost it. I didn't cry, but I'll tell you what, I didn't speak. I just stood there. And I thought, oh my God, and I looked at it, and all of a sudden I got a hug. I'm not a hugger either. Don't even think about it when I'm leaving. And all of a sudden I got a hug, and she goes, "Oh, we love you guys." I'm going, "Oh, don't do that," like that. And she was by my side the whole day. I don't even remember who she was. It didn't matter. She just was a nurse, and I was the vet of the day, I guess. I was the pick. And she stayed with me. She goes, well, I'll hang with you. And she sat with me through the ceremony. And I thought, this is very cool. And we talked about the nurses. I don't know if you're familiar with the statue or not, but there's three nurses. One nurse is actually standing there holding a vet, a combat guy, and she's doing that. The other nurse is standing up looking up for the dust off, because the dust off will come in different. It's up to her to pop the smoke, tell them where we are. Then the other nurse is sitting off to the side, and she's lost it. She's looking out. she's crying and stuff. So that's actually how that statute, and that's the real way that the nurses were. And but I remember it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Damn cool. Having that nurse come up. I don't know if I was more for her or she was more for me, but we hung together that day. It was great. And I thought, oh my God, she's going to want to have dinner and a drink, and I'm married, you know, like that. And she didn't. You know, she was fine. And the ceremony was over, and she gives me this big old kiss. She goes, "Nah, wasn't that better?" I go, "Yeah, once a nurse, always a nurse." You know, and she left, and I thought, well, by God, that was nice, and made the whole trip worthwhile. You know, for me, it did. You know,
In the wall, in the statues, in the commemoration, really.
Mm-hmm.
That probably, I would say, since the first Gulf War, you've seen this maybe a sea change in attitudes towards not just the war, but the veterans also.
Yeah.
And more veterans talking about their experiences, seeking help. All of that is good. And so what civilians need to know is, what do we do when we encounter a veteran? He's got his hat on that says Vietnam.
Yeah, I didn't wear mine today. But, yeah.
What would make a veteran happy?
Well, we have a problem with Welcome Home. It's a little late, you know. Thank you for your service. That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't like Welcome Home so much. But it's all right. What are you going to do? I mean, they're saying something. They say Welcome Home to us because of the fact was we didn't get one when we came back. I understand where that's coming from. Thank you for your service goes to all of us. I like that a lot. I think that we're all cool. Veterans don't have to be in combat to be a vet. You serve your country, you're a veteran, you're cool. There is a lineage there, combat vet, non-combat vet. Don't ever think there's not that difference. The combat vets won't bring, we know who we are, we're cool. We have the ribbons, all the stuff that went with it. The non-combat vets sometimes get a little edgy around us because they say, well, we served. We know that. Just don't hold it against us like we got to pick to go there. You know, like I chose to go to Vietnam. No, I'd have chose to go to Hawaii. I wouldn't have gone to Vietnam. So there's a little rift, but it's real subliminal. You have to really know about it to feel it. But I take older vets to, I turned out to be an older vet this year. Yeah. I take them to Washington, D.C. Now I'm getting invited to Washington, D.C. I can go myself. I don't need it. Anyway, they had, but I take non-combat vets with me. And you could feel well, you guys sit up there. We'll sit back here. And I go, no, you don't have to do that. You know, you sit with us. And then we went to a couple places like 8th and I, the Iwo Jima Monument. Well, the first things they said was, well, who's the Vietnam vets here? And they separated us like that. And I'm going, stop that. You know, we're all Marines. You know, if I'm going to sit in the front row, we're all sitting in the front row. And 8th and I, which is headquarters of the Marine Corps, in 8th and I Street, obviously in Washington, D.C., or Quantico. And I told, it's D.C., yeah. So I told the guy, he said, well, we have a place for you Vietnam vets. And I said, no, we're there's 15 of us here, we'll all sit together. You know? He goes, well, we make up the seating chart. And I said, well, then make one up for us. I mean, that's how, and I get that, yeah, it's good to be a Marine attitude. Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's where we're going to sit. Some guy comes up and they had all these chairs and we're on the grass in front of the grandstand. I mean, we're lined up. I mean, when the band walked by, we had to like lean back. That's how close this guy put us on there. And that's because I told him, I said, we're all Marines, damn it. You know, like that. And the guys that I was with liked that. They came out, look at you. And one guy says, you know, you're not a good diplomat, but you sure kind of get what you want. And I go, yeah, because I talk straight. And I tell them that you guys are as much vet as I am, you know. Don't you think for a minute I wouldn't have stayed back in the States and let you go over to Vietnam, you know. You don't ask, you just do it. So yeah, there's that. When you get to the wall, I think everybody kind of lightens up a little bit. It's hard enough being there anyway. It's hard at 19E is my column. And I look up and I see guys, and I'm sitting, oh man, I wish you guys could have stayed, you know. And I don't joke there at all. I just kind of, it's all I can do to even say anything. I remember the last time I was there, I told a class about the wall, and I brought a couple guys to life, which the teachers just loved, you know. I said, this guy was tall, you know, and and all this stuff. And the class was great. And I ended up seeing the class at Arlington to changing of the guard. And they're all sitting there, and they're all kind of like talking and stuff. And I said, And I said it loud enough because there's some other people talking. I said, there's no talking here. I said it loud enough. A Marine Corps voice has a tendency to echo. And I said, there's no talking here, like that. And everybody shut up. Everybody shut up. And I thought, that worked, you know. And then I told the kids, I said, okay, now look, you gotta follow these guys. I said, it's 21. You know what 21 is? And it's 21 gun salute. That's not for everybody. Everybody gets a volley of 3. There's always 7. So they always figure it's 21 guns. That's 21 shots. No. It's just a volley of 3 with 7 guys shooting. Only a 21 got to be a president or something like that. You know, okay, fine. I said, the guy stops for 21 seconds. He walks, takes him 21 seconds. He stops for 21 seconds, turns. Everything's 21 seconds. You can hear the kids going, 1, 2, 3, like that. And then you hear one little kid goes, he's right. You know, yeah, we have a tendency to be right about these things. And then I realized, here I am, an old codger, you know, talking to this class. And I'm thinking, boy, yeah, I wish some of the other ones would have done that, you know, when I was a kid. And the teacher ate it up. You know, she said, is there anything else we need to know? And I said, yeah, Audie Murphy's grave is right over there. And I said, don't step on graves, you know. And I said, there's a lot of stuff here, but you might want to take the shuttle, because I don't think people realize how big Arlington is. And the kids did. I said, there's a museum in the back. Go back there, and where you're standing, just go back in the museum and stuff. So it was really cool. And then I saw them as they were leaving. You know, it was, thank you, Master Boltman. Oh, you know, just go away, go, you know. And then one of the guys I was with, he goes, you know, they really like you. And I go, nothing I did that encouraged that, you know, like that. And Jack Johnson, he's dead. He was an emo vet. He goes, no, he said, you gave him time. You gave him time. He goes, and they don't get that. I said, oh, okay. I was nice to him. I didn't growl at him and stuff, but I was amazed. I was kind of amazed the teacher didn't know. Maybe she could have Googled some stuff before she went there. And she had no idea, you know. So, but anyway, so I do stuff like that.
And as far as educating future generations, they may look at this recording for future research, however many years down the road. What is there that our culture or cultural artifacts, movies, books, etc., has gotten right and gotten wrong with regards to the service of Vietnam veterans?
That's your best, easiest question so far. It's your best. That's your best. I had put this down as his best. The deal is, Hollywood's Hollywood. If you want to know about Vietnam, go to archives, go to documentaries, you know. Ask a vet what he likes. If I tell you that go watch Full Metal Jacket, I only say watch the first part, you know, except when Lee Ermey walks in and Dean Elfrill's sitting there with the rifle. That's where you stop watching it, because that never happens. But the boot camp is accurate. That's it. The other stuff, the movies are just dumb. I mean, it's so Hollywood. I'll give you, for instance, like the Green Berets with John Wayne, right? God, I love John Wayne. He's walking off in the sunset. Remember the last clip with the little, it was a Korean kid, by the way, too. It wasn't a Vietnamese. You could have at least got. Anyway, he's walking off into the sunset. Yeah, when we get back. Well, the sun doesn't set in Vietnam. It rises in Vietnam. It's a different hemisphere. And if you get to Vietnam, and we just crack up when we see that, you know, oh, did the sun set? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Like it actually, you know, set. Well, never mind. No, it rises over there. Well, that little things like that just totally throw the whole thing off. The Green Berets, they were too clean. Everything's too clean. The movies that glorify it, that's too rough. Just, I love the documentaries. I like the History Channel and stuff like that, or we call it the Hitler Channel because there's a little too much Hitler there. But they have, sometimes they have some good documentaries. So I would tell folks to do that.
Talk to vets?
Talk to vets. Yeah, but if they start embellishing it and they start bragging on it and they start getting carried away, then taper off, just take it as it is. You got to be careful. I mean, that's just me. There's a lot of people out there, it's called Stolen Valor. It's a website, it's on Facebook, I subscribe to it. I outed a guy down in Indianapolis last month. I was playing at McGinley's, it's the oldest Irish pub in India, and I'm playing banjo down there. And this guy's sitting at the bar and he has his hat on with all this stuff. And I'm sitting next to him, and I didn't have anything on. I had an Irish shirt on, or a Hibernian. You know what Hibernian is, look it up. Anyway. I'm sitting there, and he didn't know I was a vet. And he starts in on this story and stuff. I'm going, really? you know, and I'm just listening to him, you know, and remembering everything. And I looked him right in the eye and I go, so, you know, none of that's true. Well, no, it's not true. And he goes, well, how would you, That's how I did it too. I said, I am a combat vet. I'm in Vietnam. I'll tell you what's true and what's not, and that's not true. He was gone like that. Then I told Stolen Valor about it and found out, sure, hey, you got him. And I go, yeah. So I told him where he was, and they did a big expo. Just go to it, you'll see it. They call it the Wall of Shame. It's so cool. And this guy I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, why don't you just go into service and do it? Why do you have to do it now? You know, well, he gets free beer, he gets free this, he gets all that. And I go, wait, hold on a second, I don't get any of that, you know, like that. And if anything, you're a banjo player, and you get out of the way, you know, stuff like that. And they're always kidding with me, but this guy was ludicrous sitting there, and I couldn't stand it. And I asked the guy at the bar, I said, I'm sorry that I did that. And he goes, no. He said, we may have you sitting there all the time. He goes, we get guys like that all the time. He said, how did you know? And I said, I could overhear him telling his war story. And I said, he said he was in such and such a place. Well, he couldn't have been there, you know. Not in the Army, he couldn't have been there. And this guy he had a master sergeant, he had all this stuff, you know, on his hat. And I go, get out of here. Actually, he left so fast, I think his hat was spinning, you know, in the air, and it scared him to death, which is fine with me. And then I found out on Facebook they gave me credit for it. It's my first confirmed civilian kill. You know, like, yeah. But then there's just different, you find them at the Kokomo reunion. You're talking about passing it on. It's a good place to go. There's a lot of vets there. Henry County has it every year. And we go up there and we hang out. Sometimes it gets over patriotic, you know. If I hear Lee Greenwood one more time, you know. But the whole, you know, proud to be an American, and they're all going back and forth. Stop, you know, it's enough.
So they have to, when someone engages a veteran, they have to at some point have some skepticism and be wary, I guess.
Yep, you do. I mean, you know that I'm a vet because you ask around and you checked it out, and I can back it up. Never used to have to do that. Never used to have to back anything up, but now you do because you got all these wannabes out there. I have no idea why they're doing it. It's just the damnedest thing I've ever seen. They'll show up at funerals in these fake uniforms and stuff. They're lucky they're not getting killed. You know, I mean, they're lucky that we're older. You know, I'm not going to run you down because I can't run you down. Unless I'm in a golf cart, I'm not running you down. But I might phone ahead, you know. But the whole deal is that I can't believe it. And if you're a real vet, you look at them, and they got all this stuff. And you go, well, that's not right. None of that's right, you know. And you call them on it, and they fold on you like a house of cards, and they always try to get away. Or then someone want to argue with you. You know, no, you can't argue with me. I know, and it's and there's so many of them. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Even Fred Glancy was in the Marine Corps League with me and a couple other guys that are around that were on this same program. We talked about it one time. He goes, "How the hell do you know?" And I asked these key questions. You know, well, when I was up in I Corps, you know, I went over to Cambodia, right across the border. And they go, yeah, no, I didn't. That's Laos, you know, like that. And the conversation's over, and they usually get out of there. So you have key questions that you ask. I don't know what a civilian would ask. I don't know. The civilian's going to have to be wary. If they start embellishing it, if they start if they start Hollywooding it up, then you might want to back off a little bit, because not a real vet will not do that. You want to know? I'll tell you. You know? I'm not going to get into any detail, and I'm not, because you wouldn't understand it. The thing about Vietnam is if you can't smell it, you can't know it. And that's how we always say. You don't know anything about it unless you've smelled it. And so that always, you know, always works. But to a civilian, it's terrible to have to say that, but, you know, because you might get a real vet and then you may think he's not. I don't know.
Leave it to the vets, maybe.
I would, yeah. You're going to have to find a real one somehow.
Yeah.
You know, and don't take it because they're wearing a hat. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Don't take it because they're wearing ribbons. You can buy those ribbons online, which is ridiculous. You can buy uniforms online. Ridiculous. You know. But a lot of guys get out of service. They give them the goodwill and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, go get the uniform. Thank you. That made me feel really good asking that question.
I'm sorry.
Why don't you ask something else that'll cheer me right up, will you?
I will do that.
I'm going to have to knock you out.
It's part 2 of my interview with John Boltman, who's a Marine, still a Marine.
Yes, thank you very much.
Still a Marine.
It's important. If this is going to go on, that's
yes,
important. Yep.
who served in Vietnam in 1967, 1968.
Correct.
And the crucial year of the conflict was 1968, and in that year, the Tet Offensive
Yes.
was launched by the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong.
General Giap.
Yes. Can you tell us about that experience and your involvement in the Tet Offensive?
I can tell you the whole thing because I was there. The war at that point was like it would come to us or we'd go to it. It was, if you could call a war a calm, it wasn't that active. You know, when we had missions and things like that, then all of a sudden the Tet hit. I remember being in the comm center, and I looked up and there's troop movement, all this troop movement. And I remember looking around and I'm sitting there going, I'm privy to this information that I don't want. You know, I kind of they're coming. I told the guys, it looks like they're coming for us. You know, and he goes, I think they are. And I go, well, okay. You know, so I head out to Tango Security. And I said, well, I'm here. I mean, if they want to send me out on whatever, but I'm ready to be on guard duty and stuff on perimeter. He goes, good, that's yours. And then I knew right off the bat that bunker and being assigned that fast, something's coming down the pike. And sure enough, that night they blew up our ammunition dump. There's still pictures of the ammunition dump going up. This is the ammunition dump that they said could not be blown up because it was so secure. It went up the first time they shelled it, you know, I tell you, oh my God, boy, we're in trouble. And I mean, it went up, the whole place shook from that. And that was the first time that I was really thinking, oh, this is it, this is it. Everybody was in the bunkers, in the perimeter, you know, we're waiting for them and stuff. I looked out, and there's a C-130 that was a two-prop C-130, the old type, was out in a distance, and it looked like a ray gun coming down. Well, that was Puff. That was the Gatling gun on the side of it. I'd never seen it. And I remember looking at it, and I told Don, who was in the bunker, I said, well, I know we're going to win now. You know, and he goes, how's that? I go, well, the Martians are on our side, you know, like that. And the guy next to him, when he comes, jumps in the bunker, goes, what the hell is that? And I go, I don't know. I sure hope it's ours, you know, and it was. And I'd never seen that before. I don't know if you've ever seen it's just amazing how that tears stuff. Wow, the whole place. Then a B-52 strike on a hill down, and then the whole world's blown up around me, and I'm going, well, there's not a lot I can do. You know, I'll do my job. God, man, we had the Air Force involved. The Missouri, remember the Missouri? Was out they were shooting rounds. I didn't even know the damn thing still floated. They actually were shooting off, and you could hear these things go over, you know, boom, on the side of the hill. And I'm going, oh, you know, I looked at Don, I go, where the hell did that come from? He goes, I think it came from the ocean. Oh, that's good news. What's out there, you know? I had no idea we had that much armament. Well, then that was, the first night was a no-sleep night big time. Everything. We had everything going off. We shot at anything. I think I got a tree, I'm not sure. But I mean, it was just like everything. If it moved, we shot at it, you know. We had mortars coming in. The airstrip was getting hit. Then the ammunition dump, the one that would never, you know, it was gone. And I'm thinking, well, that'd be good. You know, if the ammunition's gone, you know, I don't have anything. So that went on for about a week. And we won Tet big time. That's when we wiped out the Viet Cong. General Giap, G-I-A-P, I think was his name, had a good plan, and his was fodder. Almost said, everything I got, do you guys as you want. Well, we knocked out the Viet Cong. They didn't exist anymore. That was our answer to that. It was the scaredest that I ever was over there. It's when I saw the worst things over there was during Tet. I realized at that point when I come back, I'm not just a Vietnam vet, I'm a Tet vet. And it's even on the front of my Jeep, you know. I mean, now we're into a different echelon of vet. But I'm really proud to be in that echelon because of the fact, if you were there during Tet, you were there. You were in Nam. That was amazing in '68. I had no idea they had that many, but I should have guessed. Chinese, I mean, they just, so many. I never saw, when I was over there, people my age, 18, 19, or 20. I never saw any. I saw old men, old women, and little children. That's all I ever saw. Well, they were all fighting. They were Viet Cong, or they were NVA, or ARVNs, Army Republic of Vietnam, South Vietnamese. And that's all. I never saw him. Well, I didn't see anybody. I mean, it was amazing what was going on. That went on for about a week. That was the picture of me when I came out. I'm holding the rifle down. I might have had it like this. I was dog tired. I was hungry. I was hot, itched a lot, that stuff. And I remember the guy goes, take this one for the folks back home. And I looked at him, and the gunny said, you better take the picture because he doesn't look like he wants to be there, you know. Like, I didn't say a word. And he took the picture. Well, hey, what's your name? And I just walked off. I said, make it up yourself, you know. And he tried to, and finally the gunny said, don't take pictures of these guys. They're just too tired. You can do all the pictures you want, but don't interrupt them. They've got a mission. Right now is probably to go to the head or try to get some water or do anything, but you don't stand in their way because at this point, they're sort of dangerous guys. I never looked at myself as a dangerous guy, but trust me, I was a dangerous guy at that moment, you know. And all I wanted was, I wanted fresh water. That's all I wanted. I mean, little things, but I needed water, and I didn't want that guy standing there taking my time. And I looked back at the picture, and then I thought, God, that's what it was like. That's what it was. And there's another picture of me, too, that I gave you that shows you how skinny. You can see my ribs and everything. I couldn't believe it. And the corpsman said, you guys got to eat. You got to eat. This is during Tet. And I said, I'm not hungry. And he goes, of course you're not hungry. It's 112 degrees out here, you know, and I can't. I said, well, so we eventually, I put a pound on it. It took me a week to put a pound on, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know. But I did, and it was just like, then I realized I'm in a real go-get-em war, and then it stopped. It stopped as fast as it started. And it's like, you look back and go, what the hell was that? You know, I mean, and we did in the process of rebuilding bunkers and putting everything back, putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. And then I realized that all the guys and me, we weren't hurt. I'm thinking, hey, people may want to come and visit us because we're kind of good luck, you know? And then we got out and I started doing courier runs. Well, I would stop at different places. And I remember one place they were filling sandbags and trying, well, I'm not going to drive by. I thought, this message, I'll give the message, and I came back. And I spent an extra day with those guys doing sandbags and stuff. And I got back a day later, and I remember them asking me, like, well, where were you? And I told them, oh, that's good. It's good. You're fine. You're fine. You know, yeah, I think I should fill some sandbags, you know, and I did. It was just amazing. And we went into the process of rebuilding, and I'm thinking, why are we bothering to rebuild here, you know? And then, being privy to the real information, we were winning. We're winning. And I thought, holy shit, well, we're winning, you know? And I thought, well, let's do something. Do something. And no, we can't. We can only go to we're only, you know, what is it, the DMZ. And there was something else that they come up with in Washington. They wanted to negotiate at a table. They couldn't even agree on the size of the table. You remember that? They had a table, wasn't big enough. Has to be round, has to be oval. And I'm sitting there going, stop it, you know? And then they just stopped us. And I'm thinking, okay. And I remember the guys looking at me, and they go, well, what do we do now? Not a damn thing. Nothing. It's nothing. It's the first time I ever heard of the phrase, don't mean nothing, which is really bad English, but it sure fit the bill. Don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. And one guy like, do you have any orders for us? And I go, no, I don't have anything for you. Just wait. We'll wait. And we sat around for about a week waiting for somebody to tell us what to do. To hell with them, you know. We knew what we were supposed to do. Now we don't know what to do. And that's the major turning point. That's morale went down. My morale went down. My anger went way up, you know. I don't like being used. And we felt like we were being used, you know. And Tet was, to have gone through that was a major, major thing for me to go through. I just couldn't imagine somebody putting me through that for nothing. And then to go back home and they're lying about everything. And I'm sitting there going, oh, stop it, you know. And wasn't Westmoreland a clean general? Didn't he look great, you know? And then people say, well, how come you're a Republican? I'm a Republican because of Lyndon Johnson. No other reason. I'm not a good Republican, I'll tell you that, you know. But I could never vote for another Lyndon Johnson in my life. And but yet I voted for, oh, this is going to go. Edit this. I voted for a lot of Democrats, and I'll deny it. Just denied it on film, isn't it great? But it was like, just get me out of this. I remember I went home, and Lyndon Johnson was at the memorial in Vincennes. And my dad was big into politics, and they go, well, they want you on the whatever that is with him. up there in full uniform with everything like that. And I'm home on leave now, right? And I look at him and go, no. And my mother, of course, went ballistic. Everybody around goes ballistic. Then my dad, of all times, this is when we were dad and son, all of a sudden, he walks out and he goes, he doesn't want to go out there, he didn't have to go out there. You know, like that. And I'm thinking, well, thanks, Sergeant. Like that. He goes, anytime, Sergeant. And I thought, I'll be damned. He finally got it, you know. And it was like, I'm not going to stand up there and be the show and tell guy. And my mother was mortified. Everybody's mortified. Well, you're the local. I'm the local nothing. I'm just a guy that went over there. You know, I couldn't even buy a beer at the American Legion. I'm not standing up there. And I was getting really pissed off. And my dad interceded, and I thought that was great. Yeah, stand up there if you don't want to. And I thought, that's a Marine Corps voice. I've heard that before. And I just stood there and I thought, yeah, thanks, Dad. That's great. And he looked at me and goes, where are you going anyway? And I go, I got a date for the weekend. You got a girl for the whole weekend? Well, hell yes, I've got a girl for the weekend, and I'm going with her. You know, I'd rather spend the weekend with him or her than him, you know, Lyndon Johnson and you, no offense, you know. And he just laughed and goes, go with the girls. Lot better option, you know. And I did. And even the girlfriend I was with, she goes, you sure you don't want to be up there with the president? And he, nah. I got 30 days off, and I think I'll hang with you, you know. And I remember at that point, I'm still in the Corps, but then the bitterness kind of welled up, and I thought, well, I'll be damned. I'm a little more pissed off than I thought. And it was amazing. And the worst was even yet to come when I got out, tried to get back into civilian life. So.
More kind of people not understanding what you had gone through, but thought they knew what you had gone through?
They didn't give a shit when I went through it.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They also thought I was either a baby killer or a village burner, which I didn't do any of that. I had nothing to do with, well, of course I did have something to do with it, but no. They had this preconceived notion that somehow or another corporals and sergeants make policy. No, we don't make policy. You cannot blame that war on us. We were trying to do what we thought was right, you know, fight for our country. That's what we thought. Then we got to realize that, well, the country wasn't under threat. So we kind of enlisted under World War II conditions. Does that make sense? No, we're not under threat. Nobody attacked us over there. We're there to protect the oil. Gulf oil was the big one. And I remember that, and I thought, yeah, well, maybe you might be right. Then I got to thinking, no, you're not right. You don't know shit. It was like we went over there because it was our duty to go over there. And that's where the big lines started to be drawn back in those days. You know, they would call us, well, there was a word they used to use because they said we didn't have the courage to not go. Well, what do? You either go, you're going to get drafted, or you go to jail. Well, I don't want to go to jail. I sure as hell don't want to go to Canada. It's too damn cold up there, you know. So I'm thinking, I'll just go, you know. And never thought anything of it. When I went in, it was okay. But when I got out, I thought, boy, they duped me pretty well. But the Marine Corps experience was good. And
it's the politics.
It was just like, stop, you know. And the more they did it, they wouldn't. I mean, that war went on. I got out at the end of 68, 69. I'm out. I'm done. Or 69, I got out. And it went on. In fact, it went on to the day I got married in 1975 when I got married. That's when that war ended. And then my other war started. I got married, you know, I'm just saying. It's a bad joke. Anyway, but that 40 years ago.
Yeah. In looking at TET,
mm-hmm.
and everyone talks about it, it was the event.
Yep.
Really. And you're a 19-year-old, maybe 18, 19. And you talked about the firepower. And there's a battleship offshore firing 16-inch guns. There's a B-52 dropping 80,000-pound bombs.
It's amazing.
And you're one rifleman.
Yeah.
How did you feel insignificant, or did you feel like, whew, glad I'm on this team?
I'm glad I'm on this team. I'm glad I'm on this team. I am. I know I'm one rifleman. I'm a good one. Kept that in mind. We are what we are, and we do what we do. You'll never win a war without ground troops. I don't care. You have to have boots on the ground. I don't care what they say. Well, we didn't have drones, but I don't know what all this. I don't relate to too much of that. But I remember that, and I'm thinking, okay, fine. I remember coming home, and this is another thing that galled me. I came home. I was a year and a half in combat in Vietnam, a sergeant in the Marine Corps, 4 rows of ribbons. I mean, I'm cool. I couldn't buy a beer and I couldn't vote. You know, I'm sitting there going, I don't know if I fought for this, you know, like that. I couldn't buy a beer. And I went into a liquor store and I said, I need a case. Well, at that time I was drinking cheap beer. And I said, I want a case of Falstaff. And the guy goes, well, you're not 21. And he puts the case up there and I go, well, then what's this? He goes, no, you're not buying as long as I'm owning this liquor store. Well, thank you. I'd like another case of Falstaff. Bam, he puts it up there. And I thought, in this case, get the hand cart, you know, like that. He said, you just come back one at a time. He said, you drink as much as you want. And my dad laughed. He goes, oh, you don't want to tell him that, you know. But I didn't drink that much. But it was just nice that somebody, he was the only one. And he goes, well, you're not 21. I said, hell, I'm not going to be 21 for a few months yet. Here I was, all this. And I couldn't vote and I couldn't buy a beer. And I'm sitting there going, this isn't right. And that added to the wonderful homecoming, you know. So, you know.
And the, you know, inconsistencies, as you said, you're old enough to go fight, but not have any say in the policy, which would be voting, or some way to relieve the stress.
Yeah. So you got it, didn't you? Did you just now get that? I hope not. I'm asking
No.
I'm asking you questions.
No, I got that, and you know, my dad served in Korea.
Yeah.
Different situation, but yeah, I've seen that kind of conundrum and talked to veterans over the years and how that's just, it's at odds, you know, and another part of it was, and I don't know if in your unit, you showed me your boot camp and I saw African American soldiers in there, and how were they treated in the Corps as opposed to how they were treated at home?
Yeah, we all bled green. We all bled green, so it didn't matter. You know, I was in Vietnam when Martin Luther King got killed. And I went in the next bunker. This guy was, a black guy was in there. We called him blacks then, I guess. Anyway, well, that's not all they called him, but I mean, it was amazing. And so I thought, well, this is an opportunity to talk to this guy, just to see how he's doing, you know, because I didn't know how into it he was. And so I said something about it, and I said, so you're going to probably kill me tonight in the bunker? And he looked at me and goes, nah, a guy's got a 45, a shotgun, a K-bar knife, and all this. He goes, no. He goes, you're considered dangerous here. And I go, yeah, I am, you know. But I said, so what do you think? He goes, well, the problem is, he goes, we're both going to go back at the same time. However, you can go anywhere you want and get a drink, go to any restaurant, any restroom, all this stuff, because I can't. He's from somewhere in Mississippi. He said, everything. We have our own restaurant, everything. We can't ride the bus with you guys. And I'm looking at him and I thought, okay, now you combine the not being 21, not being able to vote, then you have all this stuff. And then I didn't ask him, but I was thinking, well, so what the hell are you doing here? You know, why are you here? Well, he was an American. He was doing, and he was very happy to be a Marine. He liked being around us because we didn't care. And we always used to gig him about, the music back in those days was great. And nothing like whatever this is now. And Motown was great. Well, they claimed Motown was theirs. And we claimed it too. Oh, that always led to interesting discussions, you know. And we just, I remember listening to the stuff. Of course, I was a white kid from Indiana, so classical gas came out when I was over there. And we used to pipe that into the helicopter so we could listen to it. And Mason Williams thought that was great, you know. He'd mentioned it once before. And then the other one, because being a banjo player, Johnny Hartford wrote Gentle on My Mind. And Glenn Campbell sang it. Well, I was there when he wrote, and I heard that the first time, and I think I'll be a banjo player. I kind of like that, and maybe a little seed there. I'm a big, huge Johnny Hartford fan, and that came around. So I thought I started immersing myself in the music and stuff. I loved the Beatles. I thought they were great. I loved all the '60s weirds. I loved it, you know. But it was just it was different. It was our stuff, and I liked it, and.
The music that you talk about, some of the music that, well, they may have kept it off of Armed Forces Radio, is some of the protest music or anti-war music that came on. Did any of that seep into the Marine culture?
It seeped into the Marine culture, but over in Vietnam, if we wanted to listen to any of it, there was a lady called Hanoi Hannah, and she was the North Vietnam radio. It's like what was the one? Axis Annie and Tokyo Rose and all that. Well, we had free channels where you could talk on the radio and she could monitor it, you know. And we'd just do like little clips, like, you know, we'd say, boy, it'd be great to be on the beach tonight, a bunch of boys and stuff. So we went to hear some Beach Boy music. Well, she'd play it for about an hour and a half. Armed Forces Radio was into this, I don't like polkas, you know, and all this, it was dumbest anyway, it wasn't our music. Glenn Campbell was cool, but Glenn Miller's dead. You know, I mean, that was Armed Forces Radio, and they were always telling us, "You got to do this, you got to do that." You know, I were in a blah blah blah, and we're all sitting there laughing at him. And Hannah would hear all this, and she played everything. Her Motown, she'd have a day of Motown music and stuff. Well, that's pretty damn good. You should have done that. The Armed Forces Radio should have done it. And I was in D.C. I do get around. I was in Washington, D.C. at the Iwo Jima Motel right across from the monument. Imagine that, me staying there. And George, who's now dead, but he was a great bartender. And George comes up and he calls me from my room. I go down and he goes, "You got to meet this guy." It was Adam Cronauer. And Adam goes, "Did you hear me?" And I go, "No, Cronauer, excuse me, you were way after I was there." You know, like that. He goes, "Yeah, you got hot shots, you know, guys." And he was just funnier than all get out. Yeah. You were the one that had the hard part of the war. Yeah, well, you were in an air-conditioned studio, Cronauer. And he was wonderful. He bought us beer, too, so we kept him going for a while. And I told him, I said, "Was it that bad?" And he goes, "Oh, Robin Williams made it look like it was kind of funny, but it was terrible." He goes, "I'd play a song, and a lot of times they'd come in and grab the album and throw it off and stuff like that." And I go, "Well, I'm glad you stayed with it." And he goes, "We had no choice. We knew." And I go, "Yeah." And then he told me some stories, but the funniest one, he goes, "You know that the guy that does Wheel of Fortune, Pat Sajak, was his replacement?" Yeah, who knew that? And he goes, "Yeah, he replaced me, you know." And Sajak will mention it now and then, that he replaced Adam Cronauer. He's in the Air Force and all that. And anyway, Cronauer was cool. We sit there and talk to him and everything, and it was just fun listening to him. And he loved talking to us. He said, "Who was the guy, the reporters that you guys liked?" He's still kind of into that investigative stuff. And I said, "Well, we had Peter Arnett was the real guy. You know who he is? He would go out with us. You know, I'd be sitting in the helicopter with me, not with me, but inadvertently he was there, and he'd go out, get stories, and come back. Well, Dan Rather would stay and get the stories as everybody came back. He would never go out, you know, and he was sort of the the Brian Williams of the day, you know, but I can't believe it. Yeah, but he was. He's not going out there. But Peter Arnett did, and we have a real high regard for Peter Arnett because he went out there. I think he got censored a lot, too, because all our letters were censored. My dad said we got letters and everything, like a lot of stuff was
Redacted.
Blacked out. I go, "Stop it," you know. And so my dad and I set up a kind of a code, you know, and I would tell him actually how many were killed by the page, you know. This is page 62. There's only 2 pages, you know, like that. Well, it's 62 of a long list of letters and stuff. But we had to have a code. There's no other way he would know. But my dad came up with that. He said, "I just know this isn't right." Now, he wrote a letter and half of his stuff was gone. I'm thinking, we got to come up with a plan here, you know. And so inadvertently, we just it wasn't a good one. I mean, it wasn't, but I would, every now and then, I'd let him know how many actually were killed that day. And I'd put a W or an L, we're winning or we're losing, you know, and little stuff. They never picked up on that, so they weren't as smart as they thought. But my dad, I think, was a lot smarter than they were, you know.
And he was a combat veteran.
He knew exactly what was going on. I know that when I was in a hospital there and kind of laid up a little bit, and my dad said something, he goes, "You got hurt?" And I said, "Nah," and it really wasn't that bad, but it was enough to I needed a break. And I go, "How'd you know that?" And he goes, "Well, your letters were always those blue paper with the little stripes around." He goes, "That was your letters. You'd write it out, fold it, and send it." Well, all of a sudden, you had stationery in an envelope with perfect penmanship. Who was that? That would be the nurse, you know, like that. And he goes, "Yeah, he never showed those letters to my mom." And he goes, "He's fine, he's doing fine." That's that and the other. And then the letters went back to the blue because I was only in there for about a week or 2. And he got a kick out of it. He goes, "What happened?" I go, I don't know. You know, but he got a kick out of it. You know.
You came through. You told me you came through relatively, unscathed, and you got good advice. As we near the end, I want you to talk to me on the phone about the flak jacket.
Yeah.
Let's talk about self-preservation for just a moment and what steps you took to keep yourself safe.
Okay. Well, first of all, I never wore a helmet. Always wore a little boonie hat. That's all I ever had. Helmets have a tendency to catch it and ring it around your head and stuff like that. So we never wore them. We would occasionally, depending on what it was. Never strap a helmet though, and never do that. But the flak jacket, being what I did, I took it and put it in aircrafts. They kept giving me one. Where's your flak jacket? I don't know. And they kept giving me a flak jacket. Well, I just take that flak jacket down to where I was flying around, and I'd put it on the floor of the helicopter. All the helicopters had flak jackets for flooring. And I remember one guy asked, "What do you do that for?" And I said, "Well, actually, they shoot up. We've never been shot this way when we're up there, you know." And you kind of tell them, and they look at you like, "Oh, I never thought of that." Well, we thought of that. And the people the guys that had the aircraft loved getting flak jackets because the whole place was lined with them, you know. And you'll see Hollywood movies where the bullets are coming through. No, 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 no. We take the doors off the sides of the helicopters and put it underneath and weld the doors underneath there and sit on flak jackets. Helicopters were open, you know. We never fell out. I mean, well, I might have fallen out a few times, but I mean, I'm just saying, when you're up there, it's some kind of centrifugal thing going. I'm not sure what it was, but we had flak jackets, the door welded on the bottom, so our self-preservation was pretty good. We knew where the rounds were coming from. They weren't coming from above or sideways, they were coming up. Now, if it was a SAM or something like that, surface to air,
doesn't matter.
You're gone,
Yep.
you know. But we did that. We had cutters in those days. It was cutters as the insect repellent, but it wasn't the stuff you get on the shelf. This is a little dab will do you, and you put that, and mosquitoes didn't fly over there. They walked up to you. It's an old bit. Anyway, we had a kind of a suntan stuff we put on us, but it was mostly just, I'm not sure what it was, but we did that. And we had WD-40. We lived on WD-40 and hot sauce. WD-40 was for the weapons and hot sauce was for us because everything tasted the same, you know. I was trying to think of what else we did. That and, I lost my train of thought. It was the stuff we used to have. I can't remember. See, I don't remember everything, but I mean, I know that the cutters was good. We had animals that helped us out. And you have to look this up. You're going to have to Google it because you're not going to believe it. We had a monkey in our hooch. Yeah, see, you can't see the look I'm looking at right now, but the whole deal was the monkey, they have fingers. They had little bitty fingers, you know, and they have thumbs too. Okay, I'm explaining about a monkey, but I'm just telling you, if you're a non-by-God, you know what I'm talking about. And this monkey would go around from guy to guy and pick out the vermin, like the little lice and the stuff, head to toe. He'd do this, and you'd flip over, and I'll let your imagination use the rest. There was no part untouched. And this little son of a gun would go around to everybody and just pick stuff off of us. And he left, we didn't itch. Okay, we were fine. We had a snake, and the snake ate rats. That kept us right. The problem was the snake liked the monkey. So we had to keep them separated. Mama-san wanted the monkey. She wanted to cook it. We're sitting there going, we're surrounded. We can't even have it, you know. But anyway, we guarded the monkey. We actually gave it a rank, you know. And anyway, so he took care of that. We had, the monkey and the snake. Oh, and we would wash in, you know what Dr. Bronner's soap is? Dr. Bronner's, if you go downtown to the Market Street organic place, I forget what it's called. Oh, Dave and Sarah are going to kill me because I can't remember the name of it. It's the organic place downtown. Anyway, Dr. Bronner's is the soap that comes in the lung. It's hemp soap. It's got all the writing around it in a big thing. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. You need to go down and get one. Get the peppermint soap, okay? Dr. Bronner's had this soap, and you would put some on your head, and the rain would come down. Well, it'd foam up, but that peppermint stuff would just go all the way down in your clothes and everything, and then you'd rinse it off. But it kept everything off of you. Whatever it was, we loved it. They didn't like that peppermint, you know. Dr. Bronner soap. And you go down to the farmer's market or whatever it is downtown. They're going to kill me. And but I still have it to this day. I always buy Dr. Bronner's just for nothing more than I know it's a good hand soap, but I don't remember what it did. So those were the little survival things that we used. We had tablets for the water. Salt tablets, we had sulfur tablets for all the other stuff. We got a shot every other month, or maybe 2 or 3. I must have had 20 shots, you know, for different stuff. We had the best thing that God gave us was pre-sweetened Kool-Aid. You'll have to trust me on this. You're drinking water that tastes pretty bad with all that stuff in it. You put a little pre-sweetened Kool-Aid in, swish it around, you got yourself something to drink. Now, I never smoked when I was over there. Then I realized early on I could swap the cigarettes for canned peaches. We had canned peaches in the sea rations, and I would say, well, they'd give us cigarettes, 4 cigarettes. That's good for you. And so I thought, I don't smoke. So I would change it for peaches. And a buddy of mine says, well, you don't have to just do the whole pack of cigarettes. You can do 1 cigarette for 1 can. I'm thinking, it's kind of greedy, but hey, buddy, it's one cigarette for one can, you know. And that's what we drank the syrup. I put the syrup in the water and switched it up, and I'd eat the peaches, and I lived off that. I thought that was, to this day, and my wife gets a kick out of it. I'll go and I'll pop one off, and here I am sitting there watching a ball game, eating peaches, you know, like that. She goes, "You're easy to take care of." I go, "Well, thank you," you know. But I remember the peaches, and I still to this day I do. Dr. Bronner's in the bathroom and peaches on it.
So some of the, I guess, things that have carried on in your life
Yeah.
are good. I mean,
Oh, I think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, you survived
Yeah, I still tap my boots and
Yeah.
blow into them before I put them on. Don't know what's in them, you know.
spiders.
Yeah, I hate spiders. You know, that's what my most confirmed kills over there were spiders, and overkill. But I mean, you know, all the things that I brought all that with me. Hygiene, a shower every day or twice a day, depends on what I want. I like that. I like being. It might be compulsive, but then that's a good compulsive. And my wife likes it. You know, she goes, "You are the cleanest guy." She goes, how did she put it? All your shoes are in a line. She goes, you fold come on. I go, your underwear and your socks, and then all your, you know, and your shirts, and then your pants, and I go, "Well, yeah." And she goes, "Well, there's no hard getting you dressed. Everything's right there, you know." And I said, "Yeah." And I even have a shoe tree with all this stuff. And she gets a kick out of that. And your Jeep is always immaculate. She goes, "Even the floor mats are lined up perfectly." And I'm going, "Well, yeah, you know," and stuff. But that all comes back from having controlling your environment. Your environment around me is controlled. I know it's compulsive, but that's okay. And I know where everything is. I don't like things that don't go the way I like it, but I'm better at it now. I started thinking about Vietnam. See, I told you, there's things about Vietnam that absolutely tear me up. And the one the most, I don't know if you want to, I'll get into it because I want to get into it, and you can edit it, I don't give a shit. The fact was that of the kids, the little kids, to seeing people that were out of a home, out of having families living in culverts, those big cement things. You go down Highway 1, and the way they were living was like, I thought, no, we're here. We certainly should do better than this. I mean, not only try to win the war, you should try to, you know, maybe these people would like us better if we might like build them a home or something. But no, we'll let them live in a culvert. You bastards, you know. I used to think that all the time. It's just like, damn, man. And you go out in the villages, the people, the Montagnards were the villages up at north, and they were the ones that helped us out the most. And when we left Vietnam, they just abandoned them. And so the North Vietnamese, most of them ended up in North Vietnamese concentration camps, and they killed, because they're Montagnards, you know. I don't blame them for feeling bad. When I was at the wall a few years back, there was a Montagnard family standing there. And they were looking at me, and I'm looking at them. This is these inadvertent, wonderful things that happen at the wall. And I had not shaken hands with a Vietnamese, ever. And I kept looking at him, and I thought, you know, Boltman, you need to get over. I think part of you getting better is if you get over this shit, you know. So I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we just the two of us, the kind of head of the household and me, walked up, and we both put our hands out at the same time. However, it took us about a half a second to shake hands. And I shook hands with him, and I'm going, Vietnam 68. He goes, Montagnard, life. I know that. You know, like that. We shook hands and just stood there and looked at each other. And I found out later I was the first American he'd shaken hands with, and he was the first Vietnamese. That's a magical moment there. And I shook hands with him. He goes, you want to meet my family? And I go, I don't know. You know, so I did anyway. And so things like that, just the way governments just don't get it. I mean, you know, why do you do that? I don't understand it. I just don't. Any guy that's been in a combat situation, I just don't get it. What in the hell do you have to do that for? I just stop. I don't think we're just as much of a problem sometimes, I think. Well, we were the problem in Vietnam. You know, what part of Dien Bien Phu did you not get from the French? What did you not understand about that? You know, and then all this litter box stuff over there in Iraq, Iran. Come on. I mean, you know, it's the same thing. It's been going on for thousands of years, and you think you're going to make democracy work? what that little blonde with the glasses in the State Department says, well, we're going to have a job fair? You think that's going to work, you idiot? Like that. No, the best thing you can do is leave them alone. Eventually they're going to get tired of killing each other, I would think. I don't know. But it's not our business, and I don't want to be an isolationist, But doggone it,
I think a lot of it is just people. I mean, you approaching the Montagnard fellow, and there's a sizable intelligent middle class in Iran as well that don't want to be ruled by religion. They just want to live and learn things and do things and talk to other cultures and learn from them too. And I think governments are the root of a lot of the problem.
Well, a guy asked me there, he says, well, we got to help them out, fight ISIS. And I go, well, wait a minute. Where do you think ISIS came from? It came from there. So why don't they come up with their own ISIS? Or anti-ISIS or something. I don't know. See, I don't know. I don't know about that. All I know is that they get guys like me and guys like Fred and all the other guys you've talked to. They put us in that situation. So, what the hell are we there for? Stop that. And all we do, we're just numbers. I don't know how many has been lost over there now. I mean, and they didn't learn anything from Vietnam. They didn't learn anything. I remember we're sitting, I'm taking another disk space here, but we're sitting at the Marine Corps League, and I'm with Jack Johnson, an Iwo Jima vet, and we're sitting there having a beer. Can you imagine that, a bunch of Marines having a beer? And we're sitting there, and the guy gets on, he goes, well, and President Bush gets on there and goes, we're going to invade Iraq. This is after 9/11. And Jack looked at me and he goes, well, what the hell where is that? I love old guys. So we actually got a map out and said, okay, Jack, here's Iraq. And he goes, oh, well, where's that guy from? And I said, well, he was from Afghanistan. Well, where in the hell's that? Well, that's here. And Jack goes, so then what the hell are we doing there? Jack, I don't know what we're doing there, And he goes, and Jack summed it up. He goes, oh, Jesus, God, they're going to send us over there, aren't they? And I said, yeah, Jack, I think Marines are destined to go over there. And Jack, it just got quiet. The whole bar got quiet. And when you get a bunch of Marines to just sit there and all agree at the same thing, this is not right. Why don't you ask us? What did you guys do? Well, I wouldn't do that. I realized probably George was trying to make up for the first George, or Bush, I guess. That's what we thought. That it was just like, stop it, just stop it. And we knew for a fact, you're going to send guys over there, and they're going to be out in that desert. And I have a real good friend that is back. He's a Marine, he's retired, and we get into it every now and then. He gets that look on his face like, boy, I know how you felt. And I go, well, thank you very much, And it's like we all get together as Marines and just can't understand why they don't get it. Why don't you get it? And you didn't learn. You just didn't learn, So then you get to the point, well, the hell with it. I don't care. I'm just going to, well, I care, but I'm not going to involve. I'll take care of the vets coming back. Mm-hmm. There's so many of them. It's just amazing they're coming back. The vets that are hurt, not getting, you shouldn't have to have the Wounded Warrior Project. You shouldn't have to have that. The VA should take care of all that. Yeah. But they don't. And you're sitting there going, well, we did sign a blank check when we got in. We'll do whatever we have to do. Well, that check should have a receipt with it from you. When we get back, if we need something, you cover it. You ask for benefits, we act like we're running gas for our cars. No, we're not. And now see, I'm getting pissed off again. It's the fact is that, God damn it, you can't send us over there and then just drop us. You can't do that. That's Vietnam. To me, that's Vietnam. Yeah. And it pisses me off the fact that they didn't learn. So you're getting me all fired up. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you?
No,
I know you're not.
I'm being quiet.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here. The more I think about it, the more fired up I get because I'm thinking I was used and it was just cannon fodder, the wonderful guys that I served with.
But I think it'll stop. I think it'd stop if the people who sent kids over there sent their own kids over there.
Oh, yeah.
Then it would stop.
Sure.
If they had some skin in the game, they'd find a way to talk to people.
They have a way of keeping their kids out of it. Yeah. Well, okay, before I get out of here, I'm so fired up, I'm going to have to just run my Jeep through this building. No, I'm just kidding. The fact is that when you could go to college in those days and get a deferment, and yet they called it the draft. Well, wait a minute. It's a draft for everybody. A lot of us didn't have the money to go to college. So we knew we were gone. But the kids that had the money went to college. So now what's going on there, And that was a hard thing for us. It was like, okay, wait, hold on a second. How come I'm getting drafted and you're not? Oh, that's right. Your dad's a doctor and you got money and you're going to go to school. That's just great. I'm happy for you. Get your ass in the bus with us. You know, and then if everybody had to go, everybody, if the draft was right, I think that war wouldn't have lasted long, because now the big shots, the big wheels, their kids are going. Now, I'm not sure about the politicians, but, you know, get them in that bus. You know, let them know what it feels like, these sons of, well,
Yeah.
you know, but I mean, just like, do it that way. And people say, well, why don't you like Canada? And I said, because I don't have anything against Canada. I just wish they hadn't accepted the, you know, the draft dodgers. They even had a monument. I don't know if you read about it. Oh yeah, look it up. Google it, folks. They had a monument of this statue it was like turning around facing America, taking in the draft dodgers. They got a whole litany of them up there, litter as we call it, that they did that. And it's just, and then, was it Jimmy Carter pardoned everybody. And it's just like, okay, if I'd have known that,
Yeah.
I'd have gone to Quebec, had a great time, watched a little soccer, whatever in the hell they watch up there. Hockey, isn't it?
Snow football. and
Oh,
hockey.
yeah, snow football. And then I'd have come back and I got a pardon, and I could have gone to school. But our makeup is I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have done it. And that's where we feel scalded, is that not everybody, it wasn't equitable across the board. War is not equitable anyway. It's just not right. It's just not right. It's so hard. People don't have a clue to what it's like. You're 6,000 miles away from home. You're tired, you're hungry, you're pissed off. And then you get a guy from Stars and Stripes. Hey, you want your picture taken for the folks back home? He's lucky to be alive, you know. And I remember those days, and I'm thinking, you bastards, you know. And that's where the anger comes in. Mm-hmm. And that's where the VA helped. They understood that anger. I never knew I had it, didn't know where it came from. That I sure found out. And you think this interview is tense. You should have been in Battle Creek. I remember in the room I had a doctor, a nurse, and 2 orderlies. And I'm being interviewed, and I'm going, I don't need all these people. And they go, well, yeah, we do. Like that. And I go, why do you think you do? And the guy goes, you don't realize how formidable you are, Mr. Boltman. You're a pretty big guy. And I said, well, yeah. And he goes, well. And then we got to it. Yeah, it was great. I remember a hand on my shoulder, you know, and I said, don't touch me like that. And he goes, I think I will. And I'm telling you, don't touch me like that. Then another hand on my shoulder, you know. Then we got to it, and it was terrible but wonderful. I finally got to what was really kicking my butt. Yeah. And the doctor told me, he says, well, you're better than we thought you were going to be. You know, he says, we were kind of worried. Some of you guys get, how did he put it, out there. Yeah, after we throw all of you out the window, you know, like that. But we didn't want drugs, you know. You know what the Thorazine shuffle is, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it, I've seen it up there. I said, don't give me any of that crap. And so they didn't. And no drugs. It was a drug-free thing. And then they prescribed later on little kind of settle down stuff. But once you can deal with it, you don't have to have all the drugs, which I like. I don't like that. I don't even like taking aspirin. But you want me on meds when I'm down here.
Yeah.
And my wife always asks, did you take your meds this morning? Yeah, I'm fine. You're safe for another day. And
Well, John, thank you so much. I think we hit each and everything. But I always leave it to where the veteran can have a final word.
Yep.
Is there anything I missed that you want to say, you want to express?
Yeah, I think the war wasn't right. I wasn't right when I came back. It screwed us up. It's been damn difficult dealing with it. You need to find, and I'm talking to other vets too, you need to find help. You don't have to give up anything. You don't have to, it's not a sign of weakness. It's not at all. If you want to get into hardcore what I did overseas and stuff like that, yeah, I'll get right down in the dirt with you. But I don't want to. You don't have to. Go get it. The help is out there. Go get it, you know. Seek out another vet. For God's sakes, try to find a real one, you know. Find a guy and find a combat vet. I'm a combat vet. People like us know what it looks like, feels like, smells like. Go to those guys. Give us a break, first of all, because of Vietnam wasn't good. And then for the civilians out there, I just say stay away, maybe support the VA. Let the vets take care of themselves, and then you can take care of whatever. But war is just so unfair to everything. I sound like a pacifist. Maybe I am a pacifist in a sense, as I would never have you guys do that. I would do this point right now. I would do it. I'll do it again to keep you guys from having to do it. I'll do it. I know how to do it, you know? And I don't want to know how to do it, but I do. And I worry about all the other vets that have committed suicide, that didn't come back, that, how in the hell did we survive that? I don't know. And we're dying at a higher rate because of Agent Orange, of all this stuff. We're dying at a higher rate than World War II vets. We're just clicking off. And I sometimes wonder if they're just not allowing us to click off so they don't have to worry about us anymore, you know. And, but don't feel that way. If you're a vet, find me, find somebody. We'll get you through it. I can get you through the VA process. You're not going to like it, but I'll get you through it. And you get the help you needed, you know, and you got to ask for it. Just got to ask for it. If somebody's going to judge you, just tell them to buzz off. That's not exactly what I wanted to say, but you just tell them to get the hell away from you, because if they have a problem with that, then you need to find somebody else. You can find me, you know. Of course I'm going to give you a hard time. Oh, am I going to give you a hard time? But it's going to be a good hard time. I want to try to get you to focus, you know, because I went through hell, and you can go through it too. And the outcome is good if you give yourself time to do it. That'd be the last thing I'd want to say. And don't ever wish that you were in combat. Don't ever wish that, because I would never wish it on you, not even anybody, not any in-law. But I mean, it's just like you stay far away from it. Serve your country as best you can. But I feel for the guys going over there. You know, it's like they think they're doing such a good job for their country, but I don't know if we're at threat. Maybe we're at threat. We have the ISIS threat, I guess. I don't know. You know, one guy asked me one time, he said, well, what if ISIS came over here? And I said, that's fine. You'd never get past Vincennes. Don't underestimate the power of a bunch of hillbillies with guns. You'll never get past the Wabash River, you know, because they're kind of hoping you go through Vincennes first, you know. And I make light of it. But no, if you're not a threat, it's not World War II. It's not Japan, whatever. That's what I'd like to say. Just go get some help and do these damned interviews, you know.
Well, John, on behalf of WIPB and Ball State, thank you so much for coming in today, and thank you for your service to our country. Whether your country, political leaders appreciated it or not, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You talked about having to go out. There was no other way around it. You had to get in your Jeep at night and go deliver your messages. First, were you able to turn the lights on, or did you leave them off? And what was the closest call you ever had when you were being a courier?
The lights were off. Like you would drive by the moon or something. You could see out. You could. The thing about Vietnam, there wasn't any surface fog or anything like that. If it was a clear night, it was a clear night, and you could see the road and everything. So the only thing I had on usually was the interior gauges, so I could make sure I wasn't overheating and stuff. But it was like little orange. They weren't very bright at all. If I turned any lights on, it was just to get an idea where I was, and I'd turn them right back off. Like I want to go down the road with the damn, that's what I want to do, you know. And the close calls came where at night, there shouldn't be anybody out at night like that, but you're driving down the road and you see somebody on a bicycle. You're sitting there going, I wonder if I get by this son of a bitch, you know. I did. I was amazed, because I just almost knew for a fact that was not right, that person being out. And I thought, boy, if he wants me, he can have me, you know. So I would gun it going by him, and I didn't kick him off the road or anything like that. I thought about it, but I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. And then if I noticed that I was coming back and the guy was still out there, then I would lock and load, and I'd let him hear me lock and load. I'd get close enough, let off on the gas, and go with that shotgun. They're very loud at night, and they'd hear it like that, and I'd just set the shotgun on the window and then drive like that and see the shot. And then as he got closer, I would lower the right at his nose, you know, like that. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to go, you're going to go like that. Nothing happened, you know, and I put it back and just thought, I bit the bullet on that. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I mean, who's going to take the chance? But I wanted him to hear me do the shotgun. It was so cool doing it anyway. Doing the shotgun, I'm like Rambo, you know, whatever the hell I am. But I was scared shitless. Oh my God, he's not supposed to be out here. You know, what is he, a spotter? Shit, I don't know what that's like. You know, no, but the shotgun, I loved it because it made noise. And if I'd shoot the shotgun, I'd have Marines diving for the ditch because you don't hit anything with it. It's just fire for effect, you know.
It's got that big bore that you.
Oh, they
look
love,
down.
yeah. They think, oh, this must be huge coming out, just little pellets coming out, you know. Oh, well, it's perception. That's 90% of the game. But I had that shotgun on him. It was pretty funny. I mean, not funny. You had to have been there, but certainly got his attention. You know.
Do you think he was also thinking, what's this guy doing out here? And is he going to bump me off the road or shoot me as I
he thought, I'm
cycle
sure he thought the same thing, you know, because I didn't smile, nothing, just stared at him. He stared at me. Everything's fine. You know, it was like, nothing to see here, folks. We're just, you pass and I'll go. We're fine. You make one false move, be your last one, you know, or it could be mine. I didn't know what he was going to do, but no, he did nothing, you know, but I often wonder, why are you out at night? At 2:30 in the morning, you know. Well, maybe he's like the rest of us, coming home. I don't know, you know. You can explain to your wife. I don't have to, you know. Yeah. But no, I don't know. That was the hairiest time. And the other time is when I was taking a message down on the courier run and the place was getting mortared, you know. And I thought, okay, why don't we just drive in the middle of that? But then I looked, and it's deceiving because they actually weren't getting it. It was past them. So I went in there, I did the message and didn't stop. I mean, I did one of those wheelie type, Dukes of Hazzard type turns, you know, I'm gone. And I was a good Marine, but I was a scared Marine a lot of times. I just didn't want to, I don't mind them giving their lives for their country, but I didn't want to give mine, you know. So I hope that answered it. I mean, yeah, it's scary dealings. So.
Did you ever distrust someone who said they weren't scared?
I never heard anybody say that. I know that. I was trying to think. You got the Rambos over there. I want to go out and do this, you know. And I always thought, well, that's just posturing to they were trying to make themselves feel better. I was like, oh, I'll go out if I have to, you know. I was always on the ready. We were always on the ready, you know. That wears you down, wears you out. I didn't know I don't think I trusted them too much if they said crap like that. I'm thinking, why would you want to? But I mean, some of them wanted to. Some of them they wanted to be an Audie Murphy. They wanted to be, you know, I don't know what they wanted. They wanted a Medal of Honor. I just wanted to ticket out. But 90% of us wanted a ticket home is what we wanted. Some of those guys, though, were just, boy, they were into it. Well, that's fine. It's fine. Not me.
Yeah.
Well,
Not for you.
Remember the first time it zipped by my, you know, like that. And I just, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I peed my pants, buddy. I'm telling you what, because the deer don't shoot back in southern Indiana. And it's the first time I'd ever been shot at, and I didn't care for that at all. And I remember the gunny walked up and he goes, it looks like you had an accident. I pissed my pants, you know, like that. He goes, good, welcome to Vietnam. And he goes, don't feel bad, so did I. And I thought, gunnies don't do that. And he goes, the hell they don't. And that made all of us cohesive right there. We all were scared, you know. It's just different ways of showing it. And I think these guys, the Rambo types, were overcompensating. Me, I just changed my underwear.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. I'm just saying, let's call it real. I'm real when I talk about Nam. By God, that was me.
Oh, yeah.